Welcome back, Martini Giant fans. This is episode number 145, which are two films that are sort of inspiration to Martin Scorsese. In fact, we've been thinking about Martin Scorsese for a while and about all of his passion for crime films, including things like Goodfellas, all the way down to Killers of the Flower Moon, which was done recently. Very different films, but if you go back to one of his original ones from 1973, which is Mean Streets, which is starring Harvey Keitel and Robert De Niro. We try to think, well, what inspired that? What are some of the movies that inspired that? And we figured out that it goes back all the way to The Public Enemy from 1931, which was directed by William Wellman and starring James Cagney. And it's a very old film. Probably this is the oldest film we've ever done on Martini Giant, but it is sort of very, very closely related to Mean Streets. If you look at these two films back to back, you're like, wait a minute, this is the same film. It's kind of fascinating. Anyway, really great stuff. Really interested in that. And if you really want to know more about those types of films, it's really cool. And if you go back to Mean Streets, you sort of see a very, very gritty version of Scorsese, which, he's always been gritty, but this is just less polished, shall we say, than some of the other ones, like Goodfellas, for example. So awesome to do that. And of course, really exciting to think about all these amazing things. So a couple of announcements. I think you guys have all seen by now that Ray Tracing for the Win has been out and it's very exciting. If you want to go check that out, just go to YouTube and look up Ray Tracing for the Win or Ray Tracing FTW. And that's our first short film that we did in connection with Chaos. It is really, really cool. It says a lot of things that we talk about over on Martini Giant. But more specifically, it was us really kicking the tires on Project Arena, which is a new tool developed at Chaos for virtual production. And I think it was a big success. On top of being a super cool, interesting technical demo, it was also a super cool, creative idea that we were putting out there that sort of echoes a lot of the things that are going on here at Martini Giant in our thoughts. I do want to give a couple of big shout outs for the success of that. Besides, obviously, my amazing co-hosts, Eric and Daniel. I do want to call out Richard Crudo, who was our DP, who really sort of nailed the look of that and is something that I think is really, really important. Obviously, you guys know we have a fan of great DPs. And I do want to also give a shout out to the incredible technical crew over at Chaos, my company, more specifically Vlado, my boss, who was executive producer on this and really sort of got involved in filmmaking at a very sort of ground level. And it was really kind of cool that he sort of not only okayed this, but inspired us and told us, gave us a lot of freedom, creative freedom to make the things that we wanted to say on the short. So thank you so much, Vlado. I also want to thank all of the amazing developers that developed this technology, right? There's specifically a lot of stuff happened into Project Arena that made it possible for us to do that. And it was really, really cool to do that. So lots of great stuff happening out of the Chaos Innovation Lab. And especially to you, Rado, for the incredible tools you did. So thanks so much, guys. All right. With that being said, let's go into our podcast, which is Mean Streets from 1973 and The Public Enemy from 1931. Enjoy. So a couple things I want to mention about these picks. First of all, these were Eric picks, which I think were great. And several important things that are to note about this. One is Eric said, hey, I'm loving Tubi.
Amen.
Right?
It's become a thing.
And that is actually what I was going to bring up, because Tubi was kind of a joke when it started.
Right.
Right? It was like the shitty...
It was like the Tubi of streamers.
Yeah, it was.
Then it became a joke of itself.
That's right.
And that's the thing. Everyone's like, wait, how can it be a joke of itself? But it really
Tubi
was. Like, this is like Tubi.
Yeah. It's like, because you can't think of anything
You know
worse.
what, Eric? I know what's going on. You're not using the right microphone.
What microphone am I using?
I don't know. It's saying you're using... Logitech Brio microphone.
How about now?
There you go.
There you go. Rich and chocolatey. That's amazing.
There we go.
Rich chocolatey nougat.
There it is.
Yes. Okay. So back to Eric. So Tubi was in fact the Tubi of Tubies. But it was kind of like I was going to say USA Network of streamers.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess you're right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, I want to credit us because we have been championing Tubi for a fair amount of time now.
Sure.
Before what the Atlantic article or whatever it was you sent out saying, wow, filmmakers really like Tubi. And I was like, yeah, no shit. It's got movies on it. So lots of junk.
That article came out after Eric suggested this movie.
I know. That's why I'm not a wealthy man. I don't
that's how it
know
goes,
what the
man.
fuck is going on, but somehow it's just, yeah.
That's okay, Eric. You're wealthy.
I have
inside.
a thing to talk about.
You do?
But we don't have to talk about it now, but I want to talk about it. I thought about it this morning when I was doing
Publicly talk about it?
It's like ooh,
naked Tai Chi. I like to do that.
Yes. I think we can talk about that anytime.
Go ahead, Eric.
It's
What's
not
up?
now. Let's do it later.
Okay. All right. But
okay.
Tubi is fantastic. We love Tubi.
And it's got the whole thing is Tubi has got enormous amount of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is crap, but a lot of it is good too. You just have to know how to search.
Once you start putting in what you like, once you start searching for movies you like, and say just start picking movies from the 70s, its algorithm is pretty good, and it starts serving up more and more good things. Their backlog is enormous.
Right. Now, here's the thing that I think is really important. That it's going to catch up with us, unfortunately. So this is the sweet spot where it's still really good.
Mm-hmm.
Tubi is what's called fast TV, which means free advertised supported television. So there are ads in this. And I would venture to say there are probably as many, if not fewer ads than if you got Netflix with ads.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Guaranteed.
So here's what's interesting. Tubi is free. Netflix with ads is not free.
It's not free. You get to pay for that. Isn't that
You
fun?
still have to pay for it.
Yep.
So the point being, and by the way, very tolerable. Like when I watched Public Enemy, I got one ad the whole time.
Yeah.
And then when I watched Mead Streets, I think I got 3 ads.
Yeah, I wonder if they scale it according to the popularity of the film you're watching.
I am probably certain.
Yeah, that's interesting because on Netflix, when I watch ads, I probably get a quarter of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That was a joke. Sorry.
Yeah, that's about right. It's about right. Makes sense.
Didn't quite land, but that's okay.
No,
okay. No,
it
it's
landed
okay.
just
a
not
way homer.
in the funny
landed in
area,
the
but it
water.
still landed.
In the
It's a
Hudson.
way, it's a way homer.
Look, it was a Hudson land. That's called the Hudson Soft Land, and that's comedy.
But yeah, like I am looking. I have my Tubi open right now. What is on the front?
Closer to your mic, Daniel.
What is on the front page of my Tubi? The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Dude, fuck. Look at
The Thomas Crown Affair, Midnight Cowboy, Hostiles, great film, Ronin. Like these are movies that I actually watch. This is stuff I want to
Sure.
watch.
Eli Roth movie?
I really love Eli Roth as a personality. I think he's a marvelous personality.
So I do want to talk about this a little bit, Eli Roth. Sorry, we're going on that. Welcome to the Martini Giant podcast, Diver. Eli Roth produced or directed Borderlands, which is a disaster of a film.
It's a horrible bomb. And he actually made this before he made he had a hit like last year. But the Borderland has been like
The clock thing.
Yeah, like he had something that did really really well, but he made this before that, and it's been studio.
I
chopped
know
up
for
some time.
for a fact that it's been sitting on the sidelines for a long time.
Yeah,
and so yeah,
I mean, it doesn't look good.
Well, also he's like, I'm going to do something different from the actual video game, which pissed off a lot of people. Plus, he's got the extremely high caliber cast that really shouldn't be in it. But then the reason I brought this up is I was like, people are like, how could this movie get made? And then Eric, who is very, good friend of mine. I know you guys know Eric Sheely, super nice guy.
Oh,
but
yeah. We should have him on the podcast.
He's very caring, and he sent me a gift. He sent me a Blu-ray of The Domino Principle, which any Martini Giant people know. But it was actually
now on Tubi.
Yeah, which is available on Tubi. But it was a double feature of the Domino Principle and the Cassandra Crossing. And if you watch the Cassandra Crossing, you're like, oh, they've done Borderlands before. It was called the Cassandra Crossing. It was just like high caliber, super amazing actors doing the worst movie I've ever seen.
That is That's not even. I don't even think that Cassandra Crossing counts as a movie. They don't achieve moviness.
Right.
Like, it's in no way believable. It's anything else but a documentary of a disaster of trying to make a film.
Just to put you who's in this movie, it's like Sophia Loren, what's his name? Burt Lancaster,
Mm-hmm.
Harris? What's the name? Harris?
Richard
Ed
Harris.
Richard
Yeah,
Harris. Sorry.
Richard Harris. Yeah.
Richard Harris.
Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
Like, just an incredible cast
Just
of
insane.
people.
O.J. Simpson. Did you say
O.J.
that?
Simpson.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah.
great
Yeah,
killer.
it's great.
Killer
He
role.
was
Killer guy.
Yeah.
Killer
He
guy.
had a
But-
killer role in that movie.
it is
honestly.
it is terrific. We were going to we were looking at doing this as a watch party, and we were heartbroken to find out that Amazon Prime no longer offers the watch party experience.
Yes. So this does bring up something we're going to do. We're going to have to figure out another way of doing watch parties. And there are other ways of doing watch parties. There is one way that Eric found, which looks very promising, but it does involve people having to pay for a watch party option. Mm-hmm. So our Discord moderator is looking into all the different options, and it's going to present something to us.
I have an idea.
You do? Good. Well, then talk about it with Lily, because she's going to look into.
Is it with puppets? Can we do it with puppets?
Yeah,
I think that'd be the best.
What if we did the paid subscription model?
Yeah.
Then we pay for an extra subscription, and we get guests on to watch with us, and we can reach for higher.
Yeah, we can look into all this. All this stuff is.
Or if we
is
just
a
talked
thing.
about movies and had a podcast.
I like.
We can do that.
We'll sideline that. Let's talk about that later. But that's another idea.
All right, back to Tubi.
Mm-hmm.
So Tubi is a very good option for watching tons of really good movies. So Eric wanted to do Mean Streets, and because he likes Scorsese, he doesn't like Scorsese. He likes New York. Who doesn't like New York?
I like Scorsese.
A lot of people don't like New York, but that's okay. But anyway, so we watched Mean Streets, and we didn't know what to pair it with. So, Dan looked up like movies that inspired Scorsese.
Specifically from a tremendous documentary that everyone should see, which is like 6 hours long, called Martin Scorsese, A Personal Journey Through the Movies, which is kind of hard to find. I think it might be on Amazon now, but I really, really recommend it. And it's just him showing clips of all of his favorite films and how they influence them. And there's a shitload of movies. And still, I would say I haven't seen half of them.
Right. So the movie, you listed several movies, and I basically said, okay, well, which one of these would be the most to pair with Mean Streets? And we all agreed it was going to be The Public Enemy from 1931.
Jimmy Cagney.
Was with James Cagney, right?
Yep. Right.
So I decided, I hadn't seen The Public Enemy, honestly.
Is this the oldest movie that Martini Giant has ever covered?
I think so.
It might be definitely the oldest movie.
1931, yeah.
So there's two things that I noticed 100% about this movie. About Public Enemy. We can talk about it. We'll talk about it more in detail later. But I watched Public Enemy, and I was like, this is 100% the right movie to pair with Mean Streets. You can very much tell the influence of this.
Yep.
But then I thought about another movie that is a complete pull of The Public Enemy.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Beware the Marionette.
Starring.
Oh, have you seen that?
Starring another actor. That's one of the actors in this is also in another Scorsese film.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And I'm going to tell you who the actor is, and you'll know who the Scorsese film is.
Okay. Hit it.
Griffin Dunn is.
Oh yeah,
After Hours.
After Hours. Now, After
she
Hours
was in it. She was in it too.
After Hours is not the movie I'm talking about, though.
Oh, yeah,
but that girl that was in Mean Streets, that was the epileptic girlfriend.
Hours, yeah. Yep.
Is in After Hours.
Yep,
okay.
That's true.
Now, Griffith Dunn is in another movie that is a direct rip of Public Enemy. Can
Is
anyone name that movie?
Oh, I know what it is. So okay, it's too easy for me because I watched this movie a trillion times when I was a kid. It's one of the funniest movies ever made. Go ahead.
Yes, but it is 100% a rip of this movie.
Yes, yeah, it's terrific. It is called.
Do you know what
Johnny
Dangerously.
Sorry. Johnny Dangerously.
Oh,
Michael
yeah.
Keaton. Oh,
It is-
my God. What a movie.
And Johnny Dangerously is, I looked it up, is actually specifically said it's a ripoff of The Public Enemy and The Roaring Twenties.
And the Roaring Twenties. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Which is,
It's got the
it
mother,
literally
it's got the
opens
whole
with the
thing,
same,
yeah.
same like public domain shot of the streets in
In
1909.
Yeah, it is fucking hilarious. That movie, that movie is the same. You're absolutely right, because that movie has the same relationship.
Which I watched immediately after watching these movies. So I
God,
actually watched 3 movies.
Yeah, like I still. No one ever gets this quote. You'll get this quote. I still quote Griffin Dunn saying, "Oh my god! Oh my god!" It's incredible. That movie has the same.
It's funny because when I saw it yesterday and I saw him, so the quote is basically his car crashes down this hill and it's just doing this tumble, and you just hear his voiceover going, "Oh my god!"
And it's the same sound clip twice in a row. That's what
Yes.
makes it hysterically funny.
Yeah, and I just hear it in your voice when he's crashing.
Oh god, it's so good, dude. And so yeah, like if you're to do a quadruple feature, the movies to do would be
Mean Streets?
Mean Streets. Rather, no, it would be rather Public Enemy and Johnny Dangerously and Young Frankenstein and Son of Frankenstein.
Oh, right,
Son of Frankenstein is identical to Young Frankenstein, just not funny. Like,
Just not funny.
It has the one-armed guy. It has everything. It has
Yeah, and then
literally
you
the whole thing.
have Peter Boyle in both of them.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. No, it's fantastic. It's totally fun. I highly recommend. Actually, yeah, Son of Frankenstein is my favorite of the old Frankenstein movies. Like, everyone likes the Bride of Frankenstein more. I happen to like this one more. But yes, I totally agree with Public Enemy. The Public Enemy is Johnny Dangerously. I had not thought of that, but you're dead on. That movie
It is.
hilarious.
I was watching this. I was like, because I hadn't seen The Public Enemy because it is a very old film. Not that it didn't. I really liked the film, but I was like, this is hilariously close to.
Oh yeah,
it was
it's got, like the mom is.
The mom is the same mom.
Same mom. I gotta tell you, honey, I swing both ways. Oh my god,
I got a year's worth of laundry to do. And then the good son in the background.
The good son, and then the son who was that.
This
like,
beer's full of blood.
I mean, we also have to say, like, I was actually, I know that I saw this movie. I saw The Public Enemy probably 30 years ago, maybe.
Right.
So it's been quite a long time. And I really enjoyed it watching it again. I thought it was great. I was shocked at how many movies reference this movie.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I was just like, whoa, it's like Godfather 1, Godfather 2, Miller's Crossing, Heat.
Which one?
Yeah.
Which one are you talking about? Is the Public Enemy?
Public Enemy.
Public
Oh,
Enemy.
yeah,
In fact,
dude.
let's start with Public Enemy because we're all in.
By the way, James Bond, staircase with the escalator.
Oh yeah,
Going
yeah,
down.
same.
That's right.
Same gag.
Skyfall.
The fucking
Yeah.
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and the Terminator with going to the gun guy.
Oh yeah.
Like
He takes the
doesn't
gun.
shoot the gun guy in this one, but it's the same
the
scene.
thing is,
Stick 'em up.
My
Yeah.
wife walked by when I was watching that, and she said, "That is, the exterior was Bullock's in my old neighborhood on Wilshire, but where the LACMA is, that was the department store they stole from.
Oh, that's funny. That's great. That's really
It became the LACMA.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
department store, or I think it's
Right.
the film. The film.
Now it's
the Film
museum.
Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
the department store.
I haven't been to the museum. I've had a lovely lunch there many times now, thanks to Chris.
That's how I roll,
But-
buddy.
That's right, dude. Fancy. But yeah, so The Public Enemy, 1931, is a absolutely classic. And when I say classic, I don't mean old, and I don't necessarily even mean good. It's a good movie, but it created a class of movies that persists to this day.
It is the pinnacle gangster film.
Yeah. It is the archetypical experience for gangster films, and it is also very good. It was a very
It
good
is
movie.
very good.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, especially when you watch, like, to some extent the adults, but especially with the kids, because at the beginning it's like the kids in a neighborhood growing up and they're like bad kids and they grow up to be bad kids. That's the whole point, right? But when the kids are acting, it just had
it's like,
that I'm watching a middle school play right now.
Oh, I mean, you can see them smiling when they're trying to yell at each other, like it's
But
it's
the
really,
old
really something.
rope in the walkway trick when they're like 2.5 feet from the
They're
girl.
right there. They're like
We have rope and we're going
setting
to
up to
trip
trip
her.
the girl on
It's
the
like,
roller
I think
skates.
she
who was
just
literally
heard
a foot
you.
away.
And she's going, "Gah, gah, gah, gah."
Yeah,
Ah,
So yeah, there's, I mean, well, like as with any old movie, you have to take it with a sort of the framework in which it was made. But
Well,
like once you get by that, it works very
absolutely.
well.
You just got to sort of go with that and you realize certain acting is certain acting. But you can tell there is the wide range of acting in this.
Yeah, very true. And the thing is, because I do,
James Cagney is way up there.
But you know
compared to
who
most
was
others.
he's like top end.
You know who was fantastic but younger was James Cagney's mother was Mrs. Scorsese. And it's amazing to see her younger.
I had forgotten that she's in Mean Streets and yelling in Italian.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh shit, she's really scary when she does that. That's amazing. But yeah,
Dealing
like,
with an epileptic girl.
so good. But yeah, no, like I think that's a good thing to point out because like I think that people think of older acting as bad acting automatically when it's simply the style that people were performing in these days. And if you watch a lot of old movies, you can tell the difference between good acting and bad acting of that period. Like,
Sure.
Cagney is a stage performer. This is stage style acting, and he is tip top. He is funny
very
as
good.
hell. He is
He's
really
got
mean,
great facial
scary.
expressions.
Yeah, he is terrific.
But even
really
like
terrific.
you know, so for example, in this image behind us, the guy, this guy right here, who's the bartender guy, he was very good too.
Yeah.
Right? But then some other people are like just straight. They just deliver their lines.
His brother is a little one note. His brother's like,
His
I'm going to talk like
brother
this.
is definitely one
By
note.
the way, the closest resemblance
His
to Mean
mother
Streets
acts like
is-
she's 5 years old.
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
but that's
Yeah.
dead on with Mrs. Scorsese.
That's true.
Where'd you go out with good girls? Good girls. I go out every night and I get out the one next day. Bim, bada, bim.
I like this. One's going the one way and one's going the other way.
The scene at the dinner, just to jump ahead, the military, his brother's in the military, to the one in Mean Streets where the military guy goes, I mean, that's
Ape
like,
shit? Yeah.
it was like,
yeah.
it was so, I was like, I totally forgot. Like, I was like, wait a minute. What? I mean, it really is something dear to his heart.
Oh, yeah.
He's
no, it's
pulling
it's
just
terrific.
even
And-
the bar scenes and the environment.
Yeah, and I think the overall experience I had watching these two movies back to back is a great idea to bring them in. Eric, it's like okay. So I just need to tell a very short story, which is that I went to go see Alien Romulus.
Tell it closer to the mic.
I went to go see Alien Romulus this past week. I went to go see it with my sons, and they enjoyed it. My youngest son really enjoyed it, and so like I don't mean to take anybody's love away from this movie. If you enjoyed it, it's fucking awesome. That's great. That's what you want movies to be. It is definitely not the movie that I want an Alien movie to be. Like, it is a Disney product, right? That's what it is. And it is heavy on the franchising. It's heavy on the referencing. It's heavy on and just like all that stuff just gets in the way. And I realized what it gets in the way of when I was watching these two movies is that
It's in the way of a good film.
it gets in the way of me being in that world.
Yeah.
Like that is the, like, I can't, when I feel like I'm in the Disney store, I can't pretend like these dolls are real. Like, it keeps me out of the immersive experience by constantly doing this. And I think what Scorsese is trying to replicate because when Scorsese saw this movie for the first time when he was a kid, like, there had been no movie this fucking intense at all in the public mind. Like, it was crazy.
That showed a world.
Killing. Yeah. Like, this is
in Public Enemy?
intense.
Public Enemy is
yeah.
a violent film. I was like, oh,
It's a
this is
vicious
pretty
movie,
intense.
Yeah. It's a vicious movie.
know,
and as
you
a
add a
vicious
little bit more
punchline.
blood and more nudity, and you've got yourself a hardcore Scorsese film.
Yeah, exactly. This is what, like, Scorsese is trying to get in touch with that feeling. Like, he's not trying to like replicate the surface of the Public Enemy. Like, oh, I'll just have James Cagney talk like this, you know? Like, he's like, I want to feel the same way that I felt when I saw this as a kid, which is I'm fucking shocked at how realistic this is and how crazy I feel watching this thing. And that's like Alien Romulus for me was like going on a really fancy Disney ride. And like that is the literal opposite of what I want out of any movie.
So I do feel similar to that. And I didn't see Romulus, but I did see Deadpool Wolverine. And people loved Deadpool Wolverine.
Sure.
But it was a similar thing because there's no story to Deadpool and Wolverine. It's just basically reference of everything. Now, granted, we just do this on this podcast. We just referenced
Sure, absolutely.
Goodfellas and this and that. But we're doing that not in the act of actually making a movie, just in the act of talking about how we love movies.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that there's a difference
between. There's a big difference between, like, for instance, I won't say what happens in Alien Romulus, but there's a character who is absolutely unrelated in every single way to Sigourney Weaver and her story in, say, Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And they repeat one of her lines from Aliens as a cheer line. And I was like, why would you say this?
Right.
Like,
because you were trying to just connect with, because it's made for fans. It's not made
yeah,
for...
I'm just like, you're just saying, it's like, if like, it made as much sense as if I were watching a Scorsese movie and De Niro's just like, may the force be with you. You're just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, the thing that bothered me, and it was interesting because if you obviously in Deadpool, the whole point of the first Deadpool is that he's constantly breaking the fourth wall. He's breaking the fourth wall. In this one, he'll do it 3 times, 4 times more in Deadpool Wolverine, right? He's constantly. But what he's actually saying when he's breaking the fourth wall is, I gave this analogy to Ed Olbrich when I was talking to him. I was like, it's as if it's like the Emperor's New Clothes, right? Where the Emperor is on the screen naked and saying, I am naked. And everyone's like, I love your new clothes.
It's so funny. He's saying he's naked, but look at those clothes.
Yeah. But I'm like, he's literally telling you this movie is bullshit.
Yeah,
I am so tired of all this multiverse crap.
Right.
I'm only doing this because Disney, and he literally says it, Disney's giving me a shitload of money. And yet you guys are still saying what a awesome movie and hilarious this is.
Well, this is
now,
like,
granted, it is funny, but what's the lesson here?
Where we going?
Here's a question that's printed, and I thought about it recently. It's like, do you think a lot of the talent that you see in actors who can come in, like Ryan Reynolds, do you think there's a mentality among them right now where, like, I just want to make as much money as possible before this ship goes down?
Oh, well, sure. Ben Affleck aspect, right? Ben Affleck did that too.
Yeah, I mean, I would be I don't know how he feels about it, but I have felt this way. Like, I've definitely felt this way about.
I think every producer in America right now feels that way.
Yeah, exactly. Just might as well just
slide it out, and then can I just
go?
Yeah, I'll buy my.
I don't feel angry at them for doing this. I don't even hold anything against studios. Like, I feel like we're in a bad relationship with studios. It's just like we're not really getting what we need, and they're making money, but it's diminishing returns. Like, this has got to stop at some point. Like, this doesn't work. You get like a couple of things that like, oh, remember, because it's just like fucking Alien Romulus is like memberberry a go all the time. Like, it's just nonstop, and I'm just like,
stop it.
When they made Alien, they weren't saying, remember how awesome the first Alien was?
No.
Because you were watching it.
I know. That's
basically studio-driven.
Yeah.
Director means shit.
Yeah.
Like their vision and try to persuade somebody to make this.
It's about franchise.
Yeah, and it is a nicely directed movie. It's a nicely shot movie. Like, there's loads of great stuff in Romulus. But I mean, or Deadpool, I'm sure the same thing. But like we said before, with Deadpool, it should, by now, if they really wanted to chase down the fourth wall breaking experience, like, Deadpool should have gone into being what would you say? Eric, was like Michael Haneke, or like they should, like, you need to go that far.
Oh,
so you need to be like, oh fuck, what am I watching? Like,
shake it up.
Yeah, like,
be
really
change it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this should be fun, like funny games.
Why not?
Or
What do you have to lose?
Like, by this point?
Well, okay.
Go ahead.
What's the matter,
Chris?
I don't. We're here.
Public Enemy is being referenced in both Mean Streets and Johnny Dangerously, 2 very, very, very different films.
Of course,
right.
But
and
the way that
no one's going is like, remember Public Enemy,
right? Like, but being inspired by something is not the same as copying it.
No.
Right. And like, like when I'm watching Miller's Crossing, and like, I can tell that they've seen Public Enemy, then that's just me thinking like, I also think this way about this. That's me sharing something with the film and what the film is celebrating and advancing. It's like they're not showing me a copy of something. They're showing me the fact that they think about this thing.
Right.
And they can, and like they're using that as a tool to communicate in shorthand some concepts that we share because we've seen these movies.
By the way, we Martini Giant, when we make our shorts and things, we constantly reference other things.
Oh Lord, yeah. I think that's healthy. I think that's very good. I just don't think it's good to
principle.
Yeah, like it's like dude, absolutely.
That scene in our short that we just did where we're in prison and Dan's just playing with his nipples and the gray hair.
I mean, it was pretty good. The CG in that is fucking fantastic.
He was like, I think I'm going to go Rooney on this. And I was like, really? And you're like, just do it. Just do it. Keep rolling.
We can tell the audience now, like when we first filmed it and we watched the dailies, we were just like, that's not enough hair on the nipples.
Yeah.
And
that's
like,
Rooney this a touch more.
Really, really get that. And
Dan,
so
I got behind the camera on that when Dan was on set. And I was like, take it down. Give me a Rooney.
Yeah. And
slow the pace down. Give me a Rooney.
Your fingers and you give it a swirl, right?
Yep.
And put a little tracking markers on the tip of my
Dan
finger.
hits it. Like 12 takes later, he did it.
It was I mean, we're deep in.
What if we remade Domino Principle?
Oh my God!
I love that.
With Ben Affleck and J-Lo.
Oh my God! Oh my God! That's it, man.
That's it. And Affleck and J-Lo. That was
and
perfect.
The documentary is just them. We put their trailers next to each other, and they're just so pissed at each other and just arguing.
And Mickey Rooney is played by what's his name from Good Will Hunting?
Damon in Old Man's
exactly. Matt Damon. Oh my God.
Matt Damon is Mickey Rooney.
Yeah, that's it, dude. Oh yeah, like I think Domino.
What if we made a movie about the making of Domino Principle, and then we replaced all the actors with those actors playing?
And Bill Hader is Richard Widmark.
Doing Richard Widmark really hardcore. That would be fantastic. You would think that? Oh my God, it'd be amazing. I would definitely watch this one. Like the thing is, like as long as we had like an entire scene, like like we just put music on top of the Jeep coming around the corner multiple times. Like that we just like, okay, so he's arrived at what's her name's Candace's house. Candy's house, and the Jeep comes around the corner and into the driveway, and then it comes around the corner and into the driveway. Like there's a Terrence Malick issue I think we could tackle with this thing. It's really quite beautiful. Domino Principle presented by Martini Giant.
Yeah. So so Mean Streets is essentially a Prohibition era film.
Public Enemy, yes.
Public Enemy, sorry. Yeah. Public Enemy, Prohibition era film. Kids growing up in 1909. By the way, it was really interesting to see 1909 in New York as pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that's when my grandmother was born. It was in 1909.
Right.
So I was sort of like, that's what it looked like. And I knew she grew up in that area. So
yeah, my father was born, I believe, in 1908. So,
wow.
But yeah, no, like it's really beautiful. Like there's long, beautiful shots, like you're saying, of Chicago, and it's seeing the stockyards and stuff like that. Like what was weird is when you see the high angle shot of the stockyards, I thought of Jacques Tati.
Oh, right.
I was like, that's Playtime, only depressing and with cows. That's really wild. But it's really, really gorgeous and strange to see this like ancient city. Like it just looks like it's been there 1,000 years. It's really something. Yeah. But yeah, Public Enemy is it is a Hays Code movie. Deep in the Hays Code. It is a when did Prohibition end? What was the year?
30.
30? Yeah. So it's
no, like 28, 30?
Yeah, something like that. I'm gonna look it up.
So it was just after Prohibition.
It was just after Prohibition. Let's see. Oh no, it's still it's just under. It's still at 33. So this is 31. It's still under Prohibition, right? And you can see like the fetishization of booze in this movie is extremely strong. Like they are like, look at that truck loaded up with them barrels. Oh boy, wouldn't you like a draft of that beer? And they and the Hays Code, which was the Hollywood chose to self-enforce this code of morality on films.
Right.
And this started in the 20s, right? Because prior to the 20s, pre-Hays Code movies have lesbian relationships, nudity, graphic violence, all the stuff you get today. And then the Christian nationalists got so pissed off about this and so offended that they forced upon Hollywood politically the Hays Code.
Yeah.
And so the Hays Code made it even weirder because now you can't show any of this stuff. And so
you should see some of the films pre-Hays.
Pre-Hays,
it's pretty wild, dude.
Oh yeah, there's I gotta
really,
show you.
Really hot, yeah.
There's a W.C. Fields film called something Hotel. I forgot what it's International Hotel or International House.
Grand Hotel, not Grand Hotel. Grand Hotel. Yeah, something. I know the way you're talking about. Yeah, right.
But it is like, what the fuck is there smoking dope on there?
It's serious, man. They're just like, fucking show it all. This is Hollywood. Here you go.
Yeah.
And like, it's like Babylon.
The big one was in the pre-Hays Code was Chorus Girls Gangbang. That scared everybody.
Yeah, that was probably the tipping point.
I think we
obviously.
need laws. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the that
was marketed as a kids film too.
Yeah,
strange.
You probably shouldn't have. I mean, hey, that's why they brought it around. Maybe
Do we need the Hays Code?
The
really?
Hays Code. But like, what's interesting with Public Enemy, right, is that Public Enemy is arguably a more violent movie because of the Hays Code, because they can't, like, they open up the movie saying like, there's a plague and the city is called crime, and like they don't. It's not a story where a good guy goes bad, a good kid goes bad. It's about a kid that is born bad, is cruel, does cruel shit, hurts his family, and then is killed cruelly. You're just like, holy fuck, this is like really
Haneke
hardcore.
should actually do the next one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is like,
it's
there's nothing.
Violent.
It's like the implied violence going on in this movie is 10 times what it normally would have been, because they can't show stuff, and it's more stylized because they can't show stuff. You know,
it's the origin story of Joe Pesci.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, but it's just like, I was really, and I love that the movie's bookended by these really pious text crawls.
Oh yeah.
Which are just like, this is a story of a
good or you'll die.
Don't be like this person, because, I mean, like, basically it's saying, now we're going to show you a movie in which this guy is super fucking cool, but don't be like him because he's a bad person in the coolest way. And then you watch the movie, and in the end he's like, bad, right? That was terrible. That's the end they all come to. All those extremely cool people you want to tell your friends about. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's the ultimate have it both ways experience. But this is a great representation of just like art under extreme constrictions. Like, people are still going to figure out ways to be nasty and weird. And sometimes it's the better for it. Like, people get really creative about it. But they're not going to not do it. And I think that this movie, like, even just in the first two reels, it's not what you expect in a 1930s movie at all. And it's really, really fun, especially when that cop gets killed, man. I was like, whoa, this is, you would put that in a movie today. That'd be weird.
Yeah. Well, like,
the machine gun in the window.
Mm-hmm.
How cool was that?
Yeah, it's fucking
the
great.
machine gun. So the machine gun in the window, and they're running through the street, and this buddy gets killed, and all this other craziness goes on.
Yeah.
That is 100% done in Johnny Dangerously as well, when he's running through the street and doing the somersaults.
Yeah, exactly. But that's also fucking James Caan in Godfather.
It is
like this. You can feel these directors just like, I want to do that, but I want to one up it.
Also, that shot was like Band of Brothers.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
right. Those kind of like spine on it. There was just Band of Brothers. The framing.
Yeah.
When they blew up the bar, though, that was amazing.
That was about 1931. You saw that in The Untouchables.
That's the end. I was going to bring it up. That's The Untouchables. Yeah. Mister, you forgot your bag. Boom. Boom. And the dude who plays his brother looks exactly like the guy who played Nitty in The Untouchables.
That's the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, oh shit, that guy is like, they sculpted that other dude's face to look like this. It's so good. But yeah, no, this is a really, like, I think that it's one of these movies where this is what Tubi is really great for, because this isn't a movie that you're probably going to pay $5 to rent. Like, you heard it's good, whatever it is, but
it's available for $2.50.
Yeah, it's available for $2.50, sure. But I saw it on Tubi. I'm like, this is kind of perfect. Like, I mean, it would be better if I were sitting in like a fancy old theater and whatnot. But even then, I'm just like, I like being able to just like check this out late at night.
Yeah.
It's a good fucking feeling to watch an old movie late at night. It's really groovy. And Tubi has shitloads of these things. And
Yeah,
a lot of
I
them are
just
good.
love Tubi, dude. I really do.
Yeah.
I can
it's the
just
best.
watch that forever.
Yeah.
There's
It's-
something
Yeah, but if
beautiful about
you're
it.
a movie nut and you watch this, like, you know, it's so funny. Like, you guys are all talking about all the movies now. It's all I could think about, like, this is exactly Johnny Dangerously, and I don't know why.
Oh, it's so funny. Have we done Johnny Dangerously? That is a funny ass movie, man.
It's actually really hard to find Johnny Dangerously.
yeah,
It might be
yeah.
available on Tubi. I don't know.
I
Maybe it is.
know. I'm gonna check while we talk. Johnny
Okay.
Dangerously.
Because that one is very, very funny. But it is the thing, right? You start realizing, oh fuck, this has been referenced in so many different things.
Yeah.
It's by the way, and on top of that, just aside from the fact that everyone's referenced it, it's still a good movie.
Yeah, no, and Jimmy Cagney has a very long career, and he's one of these guys that I didn't really appreciate until I was older. Like
Right.
when you're young, you're like, man, whatever. But like now, I'm like in Yankee Doodle Dandy, he's a fucking tap dancing machine, and like in this, he's super cool. You're just like, that's a weird long range of characters to be playing. A really, really interesting guy,
Yeah.
and he's sort of faded from the public consciousness. I think
He
Yeah,
died in
he's-
'86.
He died in '86.
Yeah,
Wow.
and he lived on Martha's Vineyard.
I should have known that. I lived nearby him.
Yeah. He had a farm in Martha's Vineyard he bought in 1942
Wow, that's awesome. Great. It's beautiful.
by Tisbury. Maybe it's Tisbury.
I don't know.
By Menemsha.
Let's see. Mar.
Because I
A
lived
lot
in
of those old actors
Eggertown.
were living there. Like, I know that what's
Judy Belushi used to live there when I lived there in '86. I used to see her driving around. John Belushi's buried there.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Yeah, Menemsha. Yeah, Menemsha.
I met him in
Catherine
Menemsha.
Hepburn lived in Old Saybrook.
That's right. Which
Connecticut.
became New Old Saybrook. No. But
Or Essex.
Old Saybrook.
yes, relatively New Old Saybrook is just about exit 12.
They have to change the sign. But yeah, so this is oh God. Let's just look up, by the way. Even on,
I met him in Menemsha.
that's awesome.
Even on what?
Public. And okay, so we look up Public Enemy on Tubi. Here it is. And immediately the movies that get recommended to you off of that are already awesome, because you get The Wild One with Brando and Point Blank with Lee Marvin.
I started Point Blank already.
Fucking rules, that movie. Unbelievable. The Killing.
And you know what's interesting is when you watch Point Break, right? I always get the Point Break with Lee Marvin.
Point Blank with Lee
Point Blank
Marvin,
with
yeah.
Lee Marvin. Point Break's the surfing one.
Yep.
And he goes up to that house. That's the Beatles' house.
Is that the Beatles' house? It's a
That's
great
the
house.
Beatles' house, dude. That's where the Beatles went after when they first came to America. They stayed up in the hills, and all those famous photos of them swimming and hanging out with all the movie stars. That was it.
Oh man, that's a good house. Yeah, like that movie. It's a John Borman movie for anyone who's keeping track of this. John Borman directed famously Deliverance, fantastic. Excalibur,
Right.
fantastic, and Zardoz, fantastic. And if you want to see, like, talk about an archetypical movie, like that movie gets quoted nearly as much as Public Enemy does, and very few people have seen Point Blank these days. Point Blank, like you're gonna be opening. We want to watch 4 seconds of Point Blank and go, "Oh, this is the opening of Jackie Brown." You know, no, this is only with Lee Marvin. Yeah, it's really, really insane. But yeah, that's the thing. Is like with Tubi, like you can literally just let it play, and it gives you the option to, like, you finish a movie and then it says coming up in 29 seconds, you know, whatever, Point Blank. But you can also scroll left or right on that selection and change it to a number of other options. So, like, if you want, you can either just leave it running, and I've let Tubi run all goddamn day long, right? Just showing me the next thing in line. Or you can sort of surf around and go like, Collateral, blam, and then do that. So it's like having it's like a slightly guided tour of a old TV experience, because it feels like when I was like 18 and watching like Channel 38 in Boston, like That's what Tubi is like. Only all good all the time with no soap operas. Incredible. It is owned by Rupert Murdoch. So if you don't want to give money to him, don't do him. Don't go to Tubi.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's owned by Fox.
Owned by Fox. Yeah.
No, wait. Fox is not mainly. No, so there's a misconception there.
Okay.
Fox, the studio in Fox Hollywood is different from Fox News. They split up.
Yes.
Okay. No, this is Fox Corporation owns Tubi. So like it looks like the Fox News logo. Fox Corporation.
Okay. Because Fox, the TV studio, is now owned by Disney.
Yeah, no, this is Fox TV, Fox News Media.
Okay.
And yeah, so we have Fox News and Tubi on the same page.
Which is very confusing.
That is too bad, but there we go. Like that's what I'll put up with. I will give money to the Republican Party apparently, simply because I love old movies. So please,
Really?
Netflix, step up your game.
You love movies that much?
I love movies that much that I'm getting Trump elected. Thanks, Dan.
That's the great ad. I love movies so much, I'm willing to become a Republican.
Did you guys see like Fox trying desperately to give the cane to Trump as he was on ranting at the Democratic National Convention?
Oh no!
What's the cane?
Like
like when you try to cane someone off the stage because they actually.
Oh.
So he'd called in. Apparently, he just went on an absolute tyrant rant because he was so pissed off at what everyone was saying about him at the DNC, and so he just literally called Fox News and he was like talking about how there's been a coup on Biden because of what he's done and it's not fair. Because basically, he's pissed off. He's not writing against Biden anymore. Yeah. And he was like, what happened to Hunter? What happened to Hunter? Is like, what the fuck? The Hunter's in trial.
Yeah. Dude.
And he's just going on and on and on about like they're emptying their jails into America. People in Africa, right, are emptying all their bad guys into our country, and we are being inundated by crime because of what Kamala has done. Like,
that's right.
What are you? And they're like,
what the fuck are you saying?
And they're like, they can see them like trying to turn the mic down and like, okay, we got.
Well, he's got a lot of interesting comments to make. Why don't we start talking? Yeah, exactly.
Cuckoo.
Yeah, the guy's a fucking. That guy. The thing is that he is a loser. He is just a fucking loser. Like he is a jerk and a loser, and I hope he gets his comeuppance as a person. He's a jerk.
No, don't worry about it. Kennedy backed him up now, so we're all good.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
How weird is that?
Yeah, it's a drag.
Really?
I mean, it's a drag. There's nothing to be said about it. It's just
what's really funny though. Okay, so someone called me. It's like yesterday, and it's like, oh, I'm doing. It's like we're doing this stuff. We're doing this crypto coin thing. I'm just like, oh no, and he's like tied it back up, and he's like, and you know what? You know, it's gonna explode right now because, you know, Kennedy just backed Trump, so we're back in it, baby. Oh, like all of these NFTs are gonna take off, crypto's gonna skyrocket. I'm like, oh God, this is what it's all about. I forgot about this.
I wish it's because this is my great trouble with AI. It's like I wish that these things, with like useful technologies, weren't associated with gigantic douchebags. Like, why does that have to happen? Why can't like some normal people get involved in this stuff? Like, there's usefulness to things
because
like
there are
blockchain
people who
technology.
Listen, it's happened when we were kids, right? It was like there's the guys. It happened in this movie, actually. Let's lay it back, right? There are these guys like, I'm going to make a whole bunch of money by doing a bunch of weird shit. I'm going to sell booze or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah,
so
whatever the fuck it
that,
is. Yeah, like
right.
You need to get
and then
in
the
there
same
and
thing happened when we went to school. When Eric and I were.
I'm younger than you, but go on.
Yeah, but you know, people were like, movies like Wall Street or whatever. It was like, yeah, you know,
that's
what it is.
I'm
gonna just died,
it's the
you know.
Reaganomics idea of how to make money, right?
Yeah.
Be rich by selling stock, and then now it's all just the crypto bros, right? Ugh. And that crowd they worship that.
I figured out a way to phrase my frustration, because there's plenty of things like it's like when you talk about, you know, movie bros, like you're talking about a certain, you know,
movie
kind
bros?
of like movie bros are like if you like movies like, you know, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Heat and blah blah blah, like, and there's shitloads of movies like that I love that are movie bro movies, right?
Love you.
And the thing is, like, the way I think about it, I'm just like, this kind of stuff, when you are in this line of thinking, you are cosplaying masculinity. Like you're putting on this sort of bullshit. This is what men are like, right? Attitude. Like,
Right.
we're fucking assholes and we just fucking, kill to get ahead. And I'm just like, you're just a dick. You're just a dick. Like, and you missed the point of the movies.
There's a term for it. I forgot. Lily was telling me about it, but it's like, alpha male BS.
Well, like the idea, like if you actually watch any good masculine centric film, like Heat or Unforgiven or any of that stuff. Golden Girls, number one. The lesson is always, don't be like that. Like, even slightly, don't be like that.
That problem is, and we know this for a fact, that some people go, I want to be more like that, even though the message is clearly telling them not to do it. That's
radically against the stuff.
So, like,
because it's their instinct is telling them to do
the best
that.
example of that is Fight Club, right?
Fight
Club is
Club,
literally telling you don't do this, and they're like,
I want to do this explicit,
more, right?
Like, these fucking skinheads are Nazis. This is a mistake. It's like the movie is screaming at you like the whole time.
That's the way I felt about Deadpool. Like I said, I don't think it's necessarily a bad film. I think it's just trying to tell you to stop watching this movie.
Yeah.
And people are like, I can't wait to see more of it.
Yeah.
Because this is so funny how it's telling me to not watch this movie.
Right. Yeah. It's wild to me. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, there's nothing you can do about it, right? I mean, like, you don't want to not make Fight Club because some people will misinterpret it, because people will misinterpret literally fucking anything. Like the message of Christianity and Jesus Christ. Like, Jesus Christ could not be more explicit. Like, every single quote you get from that character in that book.
He said specifically, follow me with my AK-47. Go to the border and shoot off all of those illegal immigrants coming into this country. Yeah. That's what Jesus said.
Especially the LGBTQ plus ones.
Especially the gays. Like this
that's
is what Jesus said.
Literally everything that he has said is contrary to the way that they act. And I'm just like, how do you measure this out in your brain? I just don't understand it. I try to be empathic to it.
Really what we need to make sure is Jesus said specifically, we have to give tax breaks for the rich.
Absolutely. That's why he said it's tougher for a rich man to pass through the eye of the needle than for a camel to pass through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. It just means get a big fucking needle.
Right.
Like, what? Yeah, it's okay to kill people.
Did you ever see, if you guys haven't seen this, Al Franken did a voiceover for an animation that is hilarious. It's on YouTube. Supply Side Jesus. It's very, very, very funny.
It's radical, dude. It's radical. Yeah. No,
he talks about, well, Jesus, you look so nice. Like, that's right. My feet were done by a peasant. And by giving them a little money, I help them.
I help them out in their life of poverty.
Because they fix my nails.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's really wild. But yeah, no, this is the thing with, like, it goes from the Hays Code up till now. It's like people trying to control the content of things, and you find out that people are going to, first of all, people are going to try and tell the story they want to tell anyway. Like, that's just going to happen. They're going to figure it out.
Sure.
And secondarily, people are going to willfully misinterpret what you're saying if they have something that they want to believe in, regardless. Like, there's no controlling an audience's interpretation of what happens.
Right.
Now, you can put as many, like, pious scrolls on the front and back of your film as you want, but people were watching Jimmy Cagney going, that dude's fucking cool. You see how he stuffed that in that chick's face? Yeah, it's entertaining as hell.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I think that's, if you look at Scorsese's thing, is like, he definitely worships those guys, right?
Right, because there's something. Well, it's in that, because he knows.
He's telling you how bad it is, but at the same time,
exactly.
He's
not
showing
backing
you
away from the badness.
how easy it is to be seduced by that lifestyle. Right?
Like, it's like, and which is the ultimate. I was actually talking about this earlier today. Like, with something like Fight Club, like the point is very obvious to most folks that watch that movie. But I have also gotten to the debate of well, the problem with the movie is that Tyler Durden in the first half of the movie is so seductive that people get pulled into his argument before he tells you it's bad. I'm like, what would be the point of the movie if you weren't seduced? To mock people? to like, oh, those
Yeah.
like all those other fucking people get roped in, but never me.
So I've been watching the terrible stuff on Apple TV. I don't know why.
Nice.
What's terrible?
I think it's called
Go
The
for
Big
it.
Prize or something like that.
Mm,
Whatever.
mm.
It doesn't really matter. It's a terrible thing. But I don't know why. I'm trying to understand how things get made and why they get made and
Sure.
how they're written, right? Because there's a certain style of writing now that is so explainy.
Yeah.
And
Exposition.
Murder.
yes, very much so. So, for example, in this specific show, the guy says, the guy's a teacher. Okay, it's played by the Irish character from Bridesmaids, who plays the cop in Bridesmaids.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That guy,
Yeah.
right?
That guy's good.
But he's a teacher, and inappropriate things happen. And you know what he does? He goes, "That's inappropriate."
Just like Half Nelson.
He has to tell you it's inappropriate.
No. Okay. Thanks, man.
So that you know that it's inappropriate right away, and then therefore you can't say, "Oh, that I can't believe they filmed that because that's inappropriate." He's
Right.
telling you that is inappropriate.
He's putting guardrails on it.
He's
so
making
so
sure
they can
you
make the
know that
joke
the
or whatever it
writers
is.
know that it's inappropriate, and they're
Right.
showing this to you, pointing it out that it's inappropriate.
So this is a great example because like what is actually going on there, right? Is
They're
that,
afraid of being canceled.
Yeah, well, yes. Like like when I say things like canceled, yes, like everybody cancels everyone.
I
left and
understand.
right,
I'm not
everybody.
saying it. I'm
it's
not
part of
taking
it.
any
Right.
sides on this. I'm just
No,
saying.
I'm not arguing against you. I'm saying when people hear the word cancel, they think that it's automatically a right-wing position. It is not a right-wing position. They cancel
How would you think
also.
it's a right wing position?
No,
though?
this is the way that many people
A lot
feel.
of
It's
right-wing
like,
people are saying that cancel culture is basically
Cancel
left,
culture.
Oh,
left,
got it.
liberal,
Yeah.
liberal
Cancel
people
culture.
canceling
It is.
people.
I thought
Cancel
you were talking
culture
about
is
cancel
I like to
shows.
call cancel culture pop culture, and everybody does it. Like
Yes,
the right
you know.
cancels as
If you're,
hard
if
as
you're
everybody
removing
else.
books from the library, you are
That
definitely
is
in a cancel
canceling.
culture.
Yes, that is canceling. In fact, the right's particularly good at it. Like they
Yes.
really love it. You know, and with something like this, what it is doing is like, okay, there's a joke we want to make, but we're going to get in trouble for it, right? So we got to put guardrails on to alert people, right? And for the people
Literally
that are
telling people.
right, and for the people that are watching it, what is going on in what is passively going on in their mind is they are saying to themselves, well, of course, I know that's inappropriate, but other people are too fucking stupid and they can't be trusted. And if people don't point it out, then society will fall apart because everybody is beneath me. Everybody else is dumber than I am.
Yes, that's exactly what I said. I said everyone who's watching this film is stupid.
Just like the idea, like that. What really pisses me off about the way all ages, all demographics, left and right, work right now is that there's a basic distrust in other people's ability to have regular human feeling and judgment. Like you can't, like, yes, there are people that watch Fight Club that make the mistake of thinking that Tyler Durden is so cool that you should start Fight Club. That is not the majority of what happens. Like, that is not everybody. That is some people. And there's some people
I think it's
always
a higher
exist.
percentage. I think it's a higher percentage.
I
than you
think though there's such
There's
a
nothing
lack
you can do
of
about it, is my
guidance
point.
for people. Like
Yeah.
there's so many people untethered in life that
Sure.
it's just kind of you're getting to this point where they don't know how to understand or analyze art or pop art or anything. And,
Well, you have to be able to trust that in the proper context that they can actually learn from their own experience. When we think that people are simply subhuman and can't learn, then we make didactic bullshit that doesn't help them learn anything and doesn't give us a chance to learn anything either. Like this is like when we think we are above learning ourselves,
But they don't
that's where
know
we
that.
fuck up.
People aren't. They're just not aware of things. There's a less
sure.
engagement, and I think because honestly, there's a lot. I was going to ask you guys this earlier, but like I was thinking today, or yesterday, late afternoon. I don't want to get specific and go down the road, like 4:30, 4:45, and I was thinking like there used to be cinematic actors and movies that almost like guided you in a way. And that this goes back to Scorsese because he shows that world and lets you interpret that world. Like, God, this is the world these people live. Like, I remember Woody Allen saw Goodfellas and he's like, man, they were just, I was right in that world where they're all like animals.
Yeah.
And that's what he said. And it's true. But he loved Mean Streets with Pauline Kael when it came out.
Right.
And the thing is, it's like those were kind of these moral guardrails, or at least that's what his intention was.
I totally agree.
Where is that now? It's not the films. Is it
this,
video games?
This is exactly what I'm saying, is that when you actually tell, because I believe that all storytelling is moral. Like that's the point of telling stories. Is
Unless it's
there
Hulk Hogan telling a story, then it's not so.
I believe I believe that morals themselves are built in to humans. Like it's good to watch things that sort of tease those things out so you see them by example and then you think about them and you explore your own feelings about things. That's how you reinforce people's natural morality. That's good, right? And so like you have a movie like, say, Mean Streets. Mean Streets has loads of likable characters and they're all fucking horrible. It's a horrible mess. These people are making mistakes left and right. They're bad people. They're blah, blah, blah. Highly entertaining though. And ultimately, you come out of that movie feeling like those people were extremely fucked up in ways that I empathized with. And so that is like this movie, and this is true for all these kinds of movies, is an exaggeration of mistakes that I have made. It is a cinematic exaggeration
the moral tale
of my own faults that I should look at. And getting you to look at yourself is the purpose of art. Like that is the goal of art, is to you look inside yourself and examine your feelings in something. That's what all art does, period. Right? It's tools to do that. So when you see a movie like, for instance, Heat, right? Now, Heat's, you like everybody in Heat and you like Robert De Niro in Heat, but Robert De Niro's key mistake in Heat is that he cannot let go of vengeance. He feels entitled. And he has everything. He's got the woman of his dreams. He's going to drive off to be swimming in the bioluminescent waves.
That's the human nature. And he says he has no human nature from the diner scene. When I see you coming, it's go time. He's basically saying, I don't have control.
Right. He is saying these are my standards. These are my standards. These are my standards. And if he had held to his standards, he wouldn't have destroyed other people's lives. Right. And if he had held to his standards, even when he ends up with, I forgot the actor's name. Anyway, with
Misty Veronica.
Yeah, exactly. When they're driving through the tunnel, and it's the glowing white moment. If he had simply let go, like then, the way he preached that he should have,
his life would be great.
His life would be marvelous. But the movie ends because he couldn't let go, and that is a lesson, right? And I watch the movie, and I'm like, I have fucked it up just like this. I have learned something by looking at myself.
Pacino is the man who knows human nature, even though he has a bad life. And he's like, yeah, eventually he's going to fuck up. So I'll just be there.
Right. And so the when you look at movies like Public Enemy or Fight Club or anything like this, like the fact that they're showing you someone acting terribly isn't to didactically say, these are people outside of yourself. You would never act like this, but keep an eye out. They're saying, haven't you acted like this before? I mean, not as bad. You haven't shot people, you haven't whatever, you haven't made soap, but you do identify with their emotions and you can see that their decision making off that emotion is terrible. And you have probably done this. Now, no one steps out and says that. You feel it because you're empathizing with the character. That's good storytelling. When someone steps out and goes, well, that's inappropriate. Who the fuck are you? Fuck you. Like, the learning is happening with me in my heart, not you telling me how to act. Like that is what offends me about that stuff, is like it automatically says, listen, if you're watching this, you're probably too fucking stupid. Okay, why am I watching it then? Why should I watch this if you're just going to yell at me?
It's not I don't think it's because they're telling you you're too stupid to know it. It's just because they don't want to get sued. I mean, it's literally,
for sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, meaning like, I think that the people that are watching it and enjoy that material think that everyone around them is too stupid. I think
No. I think that they don't want to get sued. They don't want to get canceled.
No. You're talking about the people that made the thing. I agree with you. I'm talking about the people that
I don't
watched
even know if
this
it's
stuff.
sued or if there is just no leadership with a vision. There is not. It's just it's a business, which it is.
We've dumbed it down, right? Does
Deadpool have a point?
Right?
Does Deadpool have a point?
No,
it has no point.
It doesn't have a story actually either.
Right.
I would highly recommend you guys watch it just to get a barometer on where we are.
Yeah, right. I like everybody involved. I'm sure it's
and it's all just like, let's just add a whole bunch of cameos of past shows, make fun of the entire franchise verbatim.
Yeah.
And then add a bunch of multiverse crap in top of it because that's what people are.
Because that's what they do.
That's what we do.
And multiverse is simply, it's like franchising gone even wronger.
Yeah. It's how you explain everything. Like, how is this person alive now? Oh, multiverse.
Yeah, everything is completely meaningless. So we could just stamp
Why
a
does this
Deadpool
movie
logo
suck?
onto it. Yeah,
it's multiverse.
It's multiverse. Yeah,
well, that's how they bring back Wolverine. It's multiverse.
Yeah, multiverse. It's just like, because all this is part. I think that for instance, what do you call it? What's it called? What is it called? The kind of art, and it's also like architecture has this phrase. What is it called? Postmodern. Okay, so I think that postmodernism is an incredibly useful and interesting form of art, right? Whether you're talking about writing or painting or movies or any of that stuff.
They're different in every form of art. Postmodern architecture is a very different definition than it is in.
Sure. No, so we're talking about movies and books anyway.
The term is used mostly chronologically, but the feeling of postmodern art and postmodern architecture, completely different movements.
Yeah, I accept that for sure. You are an architect, and
I am going to have an architecture analogy when it comes to Mean Streets in a second. So we'll get to Mean Streets, but go ahead about your postmodern.
So postmodernism, just like modernism, which is also in architecture, but we're talking just about movies and books, right?
Sure.
Like postmodernism, the idea of the idea of modernism is to reinforce truths that we agree upon. Like that is the modernism is like you watch for instance, any old Western, or what's the Jimmy Stewart movie?
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life, or Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. You're stating a truth. You're reinforcing. You're looking at a truth and saying, this is why this is true. This is why it's beautiful, and this is why we aspire to that truth. That's modernism, right? Postmodernism is where you go, if people start accepting the idea of truth as automatic and that truth exists, these truths exist outside of humanity, like there's some sort of godlike moral law that we must adhere to as opposed to something within ourselves, it's time to check that shit. So we use deconstructionism, we use postmodernism to chip away at the barnacles of the Fox News stuff that can accrete around modernism. And so you get postmodernism isn't about destroying modernism. It's about cleaning all the crap off of modernism and saying, let's look at our assumptions here. Let's question everything. Let's break these rules and see what's still true again. And it's actually ultimately a reinforcement of modernism itself. When you only have postmodernism, when that is the point, there is no point at all. Just like how modernism can turn into fascism, postmodernism can turn into meaninglessness. And when you forget the point of why you are being critical, say if you're Deadpool, the reason to make fun of these tropes in these movies is because you love movies. And the way we're doing them is getting sloppy, and you want to call out the bullshit so we can get back to the good stuff.
I don't want to necessarily, I don't know. Maybe you hadn't seen it, but my point of view is that I feel like they are saying all these things to the audience, and the point is being made in the movie, this is bullshit.
Yes. Right.
But the audience
is eating it up. Yeah.
Is eating it up. The same way they're I can't wait to start my own Fight Club.
Right. Because the Deadpool that Tim Miller directed is what I'm talking about. That is deconstruction with a point.
Very deconstructed. Yes.
Right. That actually has a point because Tim loves movies.
Right.
Like
right,
he
right.
loves them. And that's why he made Deadpool, to criticize the bullshit that surrounds a lot of movies.
Yes.
Like that's the point. I have not seen the new Deadpool, but it sounds like it is just postmodernism with no goal at all. It's just making cynical jokes at the
it's literally
audience's
about him
expense.
making as much money as possible.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I heard someone say something, a very great saying that some guy I met. He was talking about not Vale. What's the other big town in Colorado? Aspen. Thank you, Aspen. He said Aspen. There's two kinds of people in Aspens. There's people with 2 houses and people with 2 jobs.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I was
Yep.
like, yeah.
Yep. That makes sense.
And they're most of the people, like I think, like I have a feeling in Hollywood right now is people that are trying to get that second house.
Yeah.
And get that
For
second
sure.
house and get out.
Yeah. Makes sense, man.
That's
I mean,
what we
because
just
they're
said
talking about
earlier.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I was
yeah.
saying, it's like it's
Yeah,
really is how much money can you make?
Can you make?
And that's
get out?
my feeling about everything that's being made right now. It's like
Just
it's
make as much money
sinking
and get out.
and get
It's
the fuck
cynical.
out. That's what I was
same
talking
thing
about
with all
earlier.
the crypto guys. Are like they're not. There's like I just want to buy a house and a yacht and a Lamborghini, and it just feels like the old 1980s. Like I remember there was a guy.
They're just like punk rockers. They're just trying to upend a system they know they can't fit
No,
in.
well, maybe
those
but,
crypto guys. Yeah, I mean, I followed them and I bought crypto, and it's like the crypto bros or whatever. They're all just like, I'm smart, but fuck the system. I didn't go to college, but I'm really smart, and that's great. And that's kind of who it attracts. Like that gamer thing, the Game Boy versus Wall Street. That was to say fuck you to Wall Street.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. You're exactly right. There's
Because
actually
they
a
would
great-
never get a job with those guys.
Right.
If they applied for one to work in the firm.
Yeah,
But
like
they
these are
wouldn't.
all it's the same incel mindset, it's just like these fucking idiots, just like I want to show that girl that she should have dated me. Like,
Yeah,
fuck off,
you know what?
idiot.
I'm going to make my own label, and I'm going to make my thing where I can rip Napster. I'm going to make Napster to fuck the music companies.
Right.
There was a thing, right? When I was in college, I remember walking into some guy's dorm freshman year, and he had a poster on the wall. And that poster on the wall was like this ridiculous mansion house with this huge garage, and then all like 5 garage doors open, and there were all different sports cars. And it was
right.
was the poster in his room, and it's like the point is like why I go to college was literally written like somehow in there, like I'm going to college to go to Wall Street so I can turn into, Michael, the guy from Wall Street. What's it?
Yeah, exactly. Michael Douglas. Yeah,
Michael
exactly.
Douglas.
Like Gordon
Like,
Gekko. Yeah.
I'm going to turn into that. That's it. Like I'm going there. And that's the point of me.
Well, it's wild that like
doing this.
Wall Street's actually a great is in the same heap as everything else, because like there are people that took Gordon Gekko to be the hero of the movie when he is the villain.
Yes.
Like he is the villain, and saying
Yeah,
Creed is good
that's the
means
same
Creed is
point,
bad,
right? So
Right.
It's very, very, I don't know. So Public Enemy. Sorry to wrap it up, but it is basically a gangster film. The guys are prohibition. They're bootlegging. They're being super rough. It's got some very rough scenes in there, especially when they like try to beat up the bartender for not buying his beer. That was kind of rough. That was very like Scorsese.
Okay, I just want to put up I think my favorite scene is the killing at the piano. I think
Love
killing
that
at the
is
piano?
Because you don't see the
terrific.
violence.
You
Yeah.
don't
It's
see it, and
awesome.
it's absolutely brutal. It's
Yeah.
absolutely brutal. And they set it up
Vengeance.
really nicely in the very beginning because the guy's playing that same song.
That's
and
a
gets
shot
the-
that's been taken forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Taken over and over again.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great one. That's
There
a
were
really
great establishing shots. By the way, this in 1931, some of those street establishing shots, they're like, oh my
Pretty
God,
good.
they're like
Yeah.
Robert Altman style.
really beautiful.
Real, like the traffic going here, the person going there, da, 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 da. And to think of that, like they shot it all continuously in that time. And
Like if someone if someone wanted to make a new, fresh, whatever science fiction movie, they should watch this and show how this represents Chicago, and then science fictionalize it, and then you have a new Blade Runner.
was it supposed to be Chicago or New York?
I thought it was Chicago because they show the stockyards, but I don't know. I mean, whatever it is, it's fine.
No,
The
because
city.
he says to her, like in the car, it's like, where are you from? Chicago.
Right.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're
yeah,
on
I'm probably
Wilshire
not.
and Bullocks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, somewhere in New York.
But regardless, the city, like they do such a great
Yeah.
job of establishing this world without like showing it off.
Right.
And it's just gorgeously done. Fucking
Yeah.
murder movie. It's really, really good. But yeah, I mean, like I think that like if you get into I really recommend, if you can't see these things in the theater, which is hard to do, like definitely Tubi and definitely like 11 p.m. Like lights off, 11 p.m. No, there's no chatter going on, and you're just watching this. This is the best way to watch old black and white movies. It puts you in exactly the right mindset. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So the big thing, a lot of people may not necessarily want to watch this thing, but the big thing that's shot in this film is the violence on it. As I mentioned, it's hard to imagine, especially in 1941. You'd think, it can't be that, but it was pretty shocking. But James Cagney gets into a gunfight, is shot, stumbles out onto the street.
Oh, it's a good scene.
The rain is amazing.
Beautiful rain
This
shot.
is noir plus, man. This
Noir
is
de galore.
great.
That
amazing.
and the ending shot were
Well, that's what I was going to get at.
Yeah,
So I was going to
yeah,
explain
that's
what
great.
that is. But he's basically shot, and then he's put into
And
the
he
hospital.
goes into that gunfight so cocky. He's like, I'm just going to kick ass. And it follows him across the
Right.
street through the rain. You
And
watch
he
him
falls
go
in,
to
and then
thing.
he's in the hospital. His mother, who has the brain of a 5-year-old,
Yeah.
and his overly righteous brother,
Yeah.
who
Right,
is
who's been
like
to World
a
War
war
I
hero,
and- yeah,
right, from the First World War,
Yeah.
comes in and like, we're gonna take care of you. We're gonna take care of you. And it's like at some point, and he's like, all bandaged up in a hospital. That, by the way, the hospital thing of
Godfather.
him like in the hospital, like we're
Godfather.
gonna take care of you. That
Yeah.
was very Godfather of the hospital situation.
Absolutely. Yes, exactly.
And
We'll
so
take
he's
care of you,
and then he's like, just stand by the phone. We'll let you know what's going on and,
Yeah.
happening. And it's like there are people after him, but stand by the phone. We'll keep an eye.
Yeah, exactly.
So
You're going to come in here with me and
right. And so he stands. So he's having dinner. Like the brother is having dinner with his mother and they're like the phone rings. It's like, I'll get it, mom. I'll get it, mom. And
Yeah.
he picks up the phone, and then it's like he's on his way home. And like, oh, he's on his way home. I'll go fix a bed for him. It's like, this is amazing. And so he's like, the knock on the door, opens the door.
And he is wrapped up like a mummy.
He's wrapped up like a mummy, dead as a
His
doornail.
face is exposed and he's
His face
like wide-eyed.
it is a
Total
shocking
horror movie,
shot.
yeah. It's a great shot.
And
Paul
like they
Hall's score
literally
on
just
his
drop
face.
off his dead body and just falls on the floor in front of the house.
so
I'm
good.
like, has got to be one of the most pinnacle shots of that time.
It's beautiful.
It's
shot.
fantastic. And that is a direct result of Hays Code stuff because I guarantee you, I don't know this for sure, but my great suspicion is that the ending of the movie was at the hospital. They wrote it to be like, and don't worry, he learned and it's all fine. But the Hays Code steps in and goes, no. Bad is always bad, and bad must
Right, that's
always
why they
be
put the
punished.
title card at the end.
Yes.
Saying
And so like they
push that moral, like
Yes.
this is your lesson.
Yeah, here is your lesson. And the thing is, in this case, it makes the movie even better because if they had ended on the hospital, you'd been like, yeah, it's great. It's good. It's fine. But instead he gets to the hospital
I
and then
love
it
this
goes,
ending.
and then the ending's like, no, it's so much worse.
You can see that the floor was padded.
Oh yeah, I mean, because he falls right in his nose.
He falls right on his nose, but the floor, there was a pad
Yeah,
because
there's
it
no way
lipped
around
down and you can
Yeah.
see the rug go down and it goes, oof, oof.
Boom, boom. Yeah, no way around that. But
I
it's a
had to
great
go
shot.
over and
It's still a
check it
great
again.
shot. Yeah,
I was
it's so
like,
good.
wait a minute.
Yeah, if we would CG.
That was
straighten
early
up
After
these days.
Effects, but very
Yeah.
good.
But there was some really great, amazing shots in this film. The rain stuff, the explosion of the
bar.
of the thing, the
The
bar.
bar.
Yeah, that's great.
Uh,
I'm a sucker for the scene with the beer barrel in the center of the table. I think that's
I
really
love
fun.
That
That's
one where
great.
they kept looking around the
Yeah.
beer barrel.
That's
Yeah,
very
like the
Mean
elephant in
Streets
the
too.
room. It's absolutely
Yeah.
huge. Yeah, it's really.
They're
good.
having basically the scene is they're all having dinner as a family, and the brother finds out he just got back from the war, and brother finds out that his brother has been making a lot of money, not in politics, which is what he's been telling his mother, but in bootlegging and gangstery,
right.
hoodlumism.
hmm
And so they have this big barrel of beer that he puts on the table so everyone can serve themselves beer because he wants to prove he's a big shot. And
Right.
everyone's looking around this big beer barrel.
Yeah. It's like when you're at a wedding and the fucking centerpiece is too big, and you're
Centerpiece
like,
is in the middle.
Jesus Christ! Like, why does anyone want this thing? It's terrible.
And it's constantly like
Yeah.
here, like, huh?
Yeah. It's so funny. It's so funny. And his brother is so hardcore in that scene. He's just like, that's not filled with beer. It's filled with blood and beer.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah. I'll tell you something, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, it does have a lot of that kind of
Sure. Yeah.
That thing. It was funny because there's a lot of see, I told you so, huh? Kind of voice, and then we go to Mean Streets, and it's all like what's the matter with you? Like what's the matter with you is like every other word in that movie. What's the matter with you? Hey, what's the matter with you?
The hands. What's the matter with you? What with the hands?
Tell me, have there not shot some Goodfellas there in there? Just like refined. Goodfellas was refined.
This is exactly okay. Thank you, Eric. This is exactly what I was going to say.
But it's this language being told.
So this is my architecture analogy, because it's exactly Goodfellas is the Balboa Museum of Frank Gehry, and Mean Streets is the Plywood Palace of Digital Domain.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually the cardboard chair.
Yeah. It's the cardboard chair. Like it is rough. It is a very, very because you can tell Goodfellas is all over this. Yeah. Except in Goodfellas, it's cleaner. The characters are more affable.
Yeah, it's like it's
these characters are not likable from the whole thing.
Goodfellas Goodfellas is a better movie. It's a better made movie, better performances. Everything is better.
Funnier.
Like it's much funnier. It's endlessly quotable. It's fantastic. But like, there's no getting to Goodfellas without Mean Streets.
No, you have to go through Mean Street first.
Must go through Mean Streets, and Mean Streets has a core reality to it that Goodfellas has at its center. That's why Goodfellas works so well. If he had not created this world with Mean Streets, he would be unable to create it from the outside in Goodfellas.
Yes. You know? So the analogy I like to use also is the music analogy. Like I love a big love of electronic music for a long time, still doing some, but Underworld is like such a cool, refined and electronic music. But you don't get to Underworld without dubstep.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
And this is very dubsteppy. Like Mean Street is like, oh,
yeah, because it's so.
And the needle drops are like loud and a little off.
Yeah, and there's a little
off.
I forgot how much. There's a couple in there that I'm like, this is one of my favorite needle
Mean
drops
Streets?
of all time.
Yeah, Mean Streets are like.
Dude.
They're good, but compared to the super refinedness of how they do it in Goodfellas.
Yeah, like you take the opening Goodfellas where like give it like it.
Yeah, but they got Robbie Robertson to refine it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
But in Mean Streets, it's like.
Yeah, and like
but the intention's there. It's
it's good.
What I love in Mean Streets is that it's imperfect, because like there's a slow motion shot.
It's Clapton with Cream.
Yeah, it is so. I would never take that out of Mean Streets, because Mean Streets is so that slow motion push in on Harvey Keitel at the bar when he sees De Niro coming in with the two girls. Like that needle drop there, that slow motion. I'm just like, I know he does this better later, but this is the moment. This is the moment you're like,
the slow motion was like, I can see where this is going to go. Like it's not quite right.
It is so fucking fresh in Mean Streets that it doesn't matter. It's imperfect. Like nobody was doing this. And by the time he gets to Goodfellas, he's like, I'm the guy that does that. And here it is, even better.
Right.
But in Mean Streets,
this is what it would have looked like if I had more money.
Yeah, exactly.
And more time.
So I will always give the credit to Goodfellas. That's a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie. But Mean Streets is an imperfect movie in the very best possible way. Like it's so fucking gritty, and so like the violence in Goodfellas is horrifying, but the violence in Mean Streets, especially at the end, is so chaotic and scary. Like it turns into this wild horror movie all at once, and it's impossible to get that with polish.
Yeah, well,
this
it's the
feels
same
like something
wild horror that you have at the end of Public Enemy.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's a crazy movie.
They're gonna get away. They're gonna go to the town, and then
oh my god,
pop.
dude. Yeah, so this is Scorsese's real debut. He had made Who's That Knocking at My Door? Boxcar Bertha. But the Scorsese that we all know,
told him that you made a piece of shit with Boxcar.
With Boxcar, sure.
And so he was like, he just went back to his roots, and this is really where he was. This is really his first film.
Yeah, this is like essentially like Italian American, which is a great doc that he made, only fictionalized, and it's like, this is the Scorsese that everyone knows. Like this is the birth of that, and before that, he is like a really, really interesting artist and a really clever person and all that stuff. But this movie is just like Like all the stuff is there from the get go. Like the Christ stuff. I love the bit with Keitel going up to the guy and they quote the lines from the Bible, the dialogue between Jesus saying my kingdom is, what is it, like my kingdom is not an earthly kingdom, like, and it's just because he's talking about it at the bar. It's fantastic.
Think that like Harvey Keitel is like he really wants to be righteous.
Yes.
And he's like keeps talking about Francis Assisi, and his girlfriend is like, "What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? You're not righteous. Yes. You're not doing the right thing. You're a freaking gangster. You work for the mob, for God's sakes. You were made."
Yeah. It is just fucking perfect.
If you're within a family and you have the formalities that they have, like when they sit down for dinner.
I know.
Hold on. You don't see it as crime. In the same way with Goodfellas, you are part of a family which is wrapped around tradition, is wrapped around Christ and family values. So all of that was like, you don't think, I'm in survival and raising a family or being part of a family. It's not crime. Yep. You say it's crime. It's not. Yep. And you get that message you get out of everything that Scorsese does, where it's like, the context and what they believe to be their values.
Like the context in which they are living is invisible to them, right? And so it's very difficult to see where their own choices are screwing them later. And like this, which is true for everybody, in their lives. And that's what's great about Harvey Keitel is he really wants to be a good person. And as he gets deeper into the story, like the challenges between like, you want to be a good person as represented by you are caring for Robert De Niro, right? And Robert De Niro is unsalvageable. Like he is never going to act any differently, right? And you're trying to go this way and he is going directly the opposite way. And you're trying to be a good person so you can feel less guilty. But De Niro is driving the De Niro ship. Like, you can't control that guy, and I think that it's such a beautiful way to say it, because I mean, like, essentially within his own soul, or Scorsese is saying, I have both a De Niro and a Keitel. These are the two wolves, right? It's just like one wants to do this and the other wants to do this, and I don't know if I can have both because it just goes nuts. And I feel like I always say this, but like I feel like the best way to look at that kind of stuff, especially with Scorsese, is like, how does this relate to art and filmmaking for him?
Well, how's it? I mean, come on. Don't we all have that friend that we've tried to help for a million years and that person keeps fucking up?
Right. But I mean, like just within himself, the reason why Scorsese is interested in both characters is because he is himself both people as an art. Like, the crazy fucking artist is Robert De Niro, who doesn't want to put up with studio bullshit. He's absolutely sick of the mob control of all this. Now everyone acting like, putting on all this bullshit. That's all he's contesting. It's just like, this bullshit that we all agree to and pretend is real is not real. And like, that's his argument. And it's a hard argument to resist, but the way that he goes about it destroys everything. Right. And meanwhile, Keitel is like throwing away all of his actual morals he says he believes in just so he can have the fucking restaurant. Because that's his establishment of success. And that applies directly
to the choices he has.
Right. And this is like,
and you realize that, like, when you realize that he doesn't think like she does, where she's like, I'm getting a place on the Upper East Side.
Right.
But he knows in his mind that he'll never fit in on the Upper East Side. So why even do that? And she says, but it'll be a new beginning. Because no matter how hard you work, you won't fit in on the Upper East Side.
Yes.
So I'd rather stay below house than just that's it. That's my world. That's what I know.
Serve in heaven. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just like in Johnny Dangerously. It's the worst July in and they said we're from the Lower East Side. It's the shithole. They literally say that, Johnny. It's a shithole, and it's like, this is the worst July ever, and it's snowing.
It's the worst July ever. It's so good.
And the other thing that it reminded me of, Eric, is my other favorite movie, Saturday Night Fever.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because she's like, I'm going to be a good person, and going to live up on in Manhattan.
Can't go up there.
Right. Yep. And the thing is, man, like, and his girlfriend, Keitel's girlfriend, is a good person in this. Like, she's just trying to live her fucking life. She wants to get out of her parents.
Well, she's the smartest person in the room of all of them.
Like, she's making sense.
But she's also she's epileptic.
Yeah, epileptic. And so, like,
that's what's funny about that is they said, like, she's not right in the brain. Well, she's not right in the brain. It's like, you mean she has epilepsy? And I was like, yeah, that's what I meant. She's not right.
That's why. So no one is ever going to go above Houston Street, but she is. But they consider her an outcast. Right? And she will do it.
You can't do this.
They consider her dumb or retarded because she's
an outcast.
So
they dismiss her.
She's got epilepsy.
You're an outcast.
Which is a weird thing to say because she's clearly smarter than everyone else.
Yes. But as Eric's saying, like, because of this, she is completely outside of that system.
That's right.
And everyone just has to take care of her and take care of her.
Are you in or you out?
Yeah. And she's just like, I want to have my own life. I want to take responsibility for my life.
There is a scene in there that when I was 12 years old, my brother was 14, and he's like, come with me. So we took the train from where I lived in Connecticut to go to New York. We got to Grand Central, went all the way downtown, got off Houston, and then walked to Little Italy in that area because he wanted, and we went to Chinatown, and he had heard, and he got the address, and he's like, I want to buy fireworks. So we went and bought fireworks, and he went down below this thing, and I had to wait on the stoop. And it must have been like 20 minutes, but we got quarter sticks of dynamite, these things called pineapples.
Right.
And I just remember carrying them back, like, but I thought my brother was murdered because I was on the stoop for like 20 minutes, like, man, he's been down below, and they closed those angled thing to go under. They closed it. And I was like, okay, that was my brother.
He was 14?
He was 14, I was 12.
And you were sitting there in Little Italy on a stoop
like Little
by
Italy. Like, oh man, is he going to come back? Is he going to come back? And it's just like 20, 25 minutes. And I was like, fuck, man, I don't know. I think, I just wait, are fireworks worth this? Yeah. But when they did that and they ripped them off, I was like, well, they didn't rip us off. They took our money, but it just totally was like, wait a minute. And they're like, we're from Riverdale. That's where we lived before we moved to Connecticut. Yeah, and I was just like, oh, that could have been us, but no. But we got it.
Just took it for $20.
I love that the bad guy.
They took him for $20 and they went to the movies. And what were they watching?
Searchers,
right?
Yeah,
they're watching Searchers. And what's funny, if you go to Johnny Dangerously, they're watching this movie. They're watching Public Enemy.
That's so good.
That's funny.
That's so fucking good. But yeah, I love that the bad guy in this movie in Mean Streets is such a fucking idiot. Like, I love that he's a dumbass, and he's
which bad guy?
The guy who ends up shooting him, like trying to kill him.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's such a goddamn
because he owes him so much money, right? That's
like because De Niro owes him money, right? And from the get go, like he's just like I got these great new German lenses, and the guy's like, these aren't fucking lenses. These aren't
lenses. These are adapters, and they're Japanese.
They're Japanese, and he's just like,
they're adapters.
You're such a meathead. And he never get, like, he's an absolute stone cold idiot the whole time.
Well, that's what De Niro actually tells him at the end, because basically,
you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, because essentially he owes him, like, it ends up being he has to a couple $100 here, but he gives him like $10 at a time. He owes him like $3,000.
$3,000.
Yes. And he's like, he gives him like $10 at a time, and he goes, and at the end he's like really frustrated. He's like, it's just an insult. And he goes, yeah. No one in this whole town would ever loan me money because they know I never pay them back. You're the only idiot that would actually loan me money. So you're an idiot, and I'm calling you out for being an idiot, and that's what it's like. So fine, take your $10. And it's like, it was so funny, like the balls on De Niro for basically just.
And I really empathize, like, his fucking chaotic as a character as he is, and like occasionally very unlikable as he is. I really empathize with him because he's just like, he is so frustrated with the bullshit system that they're all baked into. That
but they don't want to get out. When they have a chance to go above Houston Street, what do they do? They don't.
They don't. Exactly. And like he is so trapped that when he finally, like, he comes and he's just like, he fucks with Keitel and his girlfriend and all this stuff. And Keitel just beats him and beats him and beats him and beats him and beats him until he starts actually finally not being a jokey, cynical jerk off. It's the first time in the movie where you see him do anything else but make jokes. And he is crying and enraged. Like, you let me down is what he's saying to Keitel. And that's when you finally see who De Niro really is. And the whole movie transforms. Like, you think he's just a cocky moron the whole time. And then he breaks down and you go, oh my God, he's been destroyed by this idiot system they live in. This is his only defense, is by being, making these, essentially running in the face of it all the time as a joker. And that's it. And then it becomes, that's a tragedy. Like, once it gets to that point, that's the real tragedy revealed. Because then you go like, Keitel's the same way. He's just dealing with it in an opposite fashion. He's just as trapped. He's just as fucked. And he's just as frustrated with everybody, but he's not changing.
Right.
Like, he won't go, what's above Houseman? Is that
Houston?
Houston Street. Yeah. He won't go above. He doesn't believe that he can, so he won't.
They won't accept me, so why even bother?
Why even try? Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed this, and I tried to research, but there was a guy in the bar, and he was, during when they were fighting, the other guys in the bar, and the cops came. And
is this when they go in and they're like, the cops are like, no, we're just buddies fighting?
Yeah, no, we just fuck around like this.
Yes.
Beating the shit out of each other with pool cues.
So there was a scene, and there's an actor in there, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, God, this guy looks like a really fat version of Gene Wilder, one of the guys in the bar. And I'm like, this is like a fat Gene Wilder.
That's funny.
I looked it up at the credits. It's Robert Wilder.
Oh, wow. Huh. Yeah, I wonder if this is a connection. That's interesting.
And I tried, so he's only done 2 movies in the 70s, but they don't show a picture or give any bio on him. But it was Robert Wilder. I was like,
he looks just like,
because I literally was like,
and who is the drunk guy who keeps coming after him and he keeps
that's
Carradine?
Carradine. That's David Carradine.
And his son was the young, who looked like a gigolo, a gay gigolo, who comes into the bar and sits with the long hair and shoots him.
Yep. Yeah, I love that bit. And the thing is, man, Carradine was a known value at that point. He was in Kung Fu. Right? He was a famous actor. So he was their big actor. He was their Harvey Keitel. It's like, if this were Reservoir Dogs, he's the Harvey Keitel of that movie.
The other thing I thought was funny was the in both Public Enemy and Mean Streets, there's a very, very like overtly gay guy in it on both.
Oh yeah. In Public Enemy, it's the
tailor.
It's the tailor. Yeah.
It's like, let's measure these muscles, and I was like,
exactly.
Really?
And like and Cagney.
But that's so weird. Like, I didn't think about like
the guy with the lion in Mean Streets.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because he does say that. He's like, what? They can't accept me?
Right.
When they're playing pool?
Right. Exactly.
Like, Christ won't accept me?
Yeah. It's really fascinating. And like in Public Enemy, it's really fascinating because like in the context of the scene, it's at the expense of the gay guy.
Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. So in the context of the scene in Public Enemy, it's a joke at the expense of the gay character. But in the larger sense, Jimmy Cagney is a fucking villain. So it's actually like the fact that he's dismissive shows his character, shows who he is, which is he is a fucking selfish, nasty scumbag who's also.
You know
homophobic.
what it reminded me of? Like when you see Public Enemy, the way Cagney and his co-star worked back and forth, it reminded me of Pacino in Scarface with the guy that was his buddy. Like the way that he just teamed off of him and his reactions, and he reacted. I was like, God, I wonder. It was a
There's
very
got to be.
like
De
Scarface.
Palma must love that movie. Must love it. Yeah, because it's what's his name? Because he's also that guy. The guy who played Pacino's buddy is also in Breaking Bad.
That's right.
Plays one of the drug lords, and he's the guy who goes and hits on the girl at the pool. And so you're absolutely right. I believe that like. If you were to get De Palma to name like his top 10, Public Enemy is probably somewhere in the middle. Because interesting with De Palma, because De Palma also quotes Public Enemy, as you already pointed out, in Untouchables like 5 fucking times.
Yeah.
So that's a huge one. I bet that's
I was
even bigger
also,
than Hitchcock
like,
films, right?
It was very interesting.
Yes.
To see, because you always have that old people look old, like old fashioned, right? In a lot of ways.
Right.
But you look at some of the scenes in Public Enemy, right? It's this movie in 1931, especially the young girls
Mm-hmm.
and the young guys. They look like they could have been from like an Instagram picture.
Yeah, very modern. Very modern.
They look super super contemporary. They just have the way they look, the way their hair. It's like all that, and it just doesn't look old fashioned at all.
Well, what's interesting, all that goes in cycles. Like, number one, that sort of fashion has come back into vogue, so that's one thing. But also the kinds of faces that we are attracted to just come in cultural waves. And so, like, it used to be like, well, I used to think like, oh, people just look different in the 20s, and like, no, movie stars were selected from a different group of people,
right?
Like there are plenty of people who look just like people today, but they weren't being chosen to be movie stars.
Well, let me just put it this way: 1980, they did not have a 1980s look to them. In that,
exactly, right.
They have a 2012, 2020 look to them in this movie.
Like people in stars in the 1980s looked like Mark Hamill. Like that was the sort of icon, and everything's a variation on that.
Right.
Yeah, same sort of bone structure, but that comes in and out of vogue. There's many different, and it's like now it's really interesting with all young male stars are all very narrow, and well, they're just very narrow faced, like very small eyes, more close set. That's just the phase we're in. Like Timothée Chalamet, that is an icon of a handsome, strong character.
Which is funny because those are the kids who used to get beat up like me.
Yeah, for sure, exactly. And which is when I see like Dune 2, which is fucking phenomenal. Like him delivering, I was worried because I had already read the book when he has to get up and give his big speech to the Fremen and take control of the whole thing. Like I was like, can Chalamet do this? Like he's like a pencil. Like can he actually pull this off? And he totally pulls it off. Like he absolutely pulls it off. But I was just like, that's how much the context has changed. Because if you're making that movie in the 80s, if he wasn't fucking Schwarzenegger, he's not going to be leading Fremen anywhere.
Right.
I can't wait to see him in the Dylan No Direction.
That actually looked pretty good.
Did you see the Family Guy making fun of Timothée Chalamet? How Peter Griffith's job was to catch him when the wind blows him away. I got him.
I got him. Don't worry.
He keeps blowing away on the scene because he's.
I love Chalamet, but very true. But yeah, no, I just saw the trailer for the Dylan thing, and I thought it was pretty solid. Like he looks like he's good.
Yeah.
So I'm down for
that. But I would compare that to, let's say, Harvey Keitel, who, by the way, is super handsome in this film.
And can I say that arguably, I think overall of his entire career, De Niro is the better actor, but in Mean Streets, Keitel dominates.
Yes,
he's very good.
He is the star of the show in this movie. I think that De Niro is doing a great shtick, and he's doing a really good job.
Well, De Niro is doing this like he's Tyler Durden, right? So he's constantly bam, 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 bam.
And he's got this one note, and he's going to hammer it. It's like the eyes wide shut shot.
He's one note hammering at Keitel. Keitel is like, I just want to be righteous. I just want to be righteous. I just don't want to do the right thing.
You be the parent. You be the parent.
I want to be the right thing to my uncle, to my family, to my girlfriend. I want to do the right thing for everything.
But you see all those little micro changes on his face, man. Especially when he's first asking De Niro for the money in the opening few scenes. He's just like from the part when he brings the two girls in the bar, and he's just like, "No, after you, sir. No, after you, sir." That whole bit, and they go in the bathroom. And De Niro starts in this long, like, well, you wouldn't believe the fucking shit that I had to put up with.
Called the alarm,
and like watching Keitel's face,
bullshit.
It's all bullshit.
It's great.
And Keitel is fucking ruling that scene.
I know.
He's like,
he doesn't say much either, and he does that a lot, where he just stares. He's like, okay,
he's just watching it happen.
Sure. And
but
the guy.
De Niro pulls that in Goodfellas. That same kind of poised, calm kind of control.
Just letting him roll. Like give him all the rope in the world.
Got the hoof on the
hoof. The hoof. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so good.
So he tells him the whole story, and then at the end, he's like, "It's all bullshit," and he finally gets the story from him. And then How do they solve it? He doesn't beat him up. He's like, well, which girl do you want of the two?
Yeah, and they go right back to it's just like, oh my, and so many times in the movie, this is great. It's like
I want
people
the one
get
on the
into
left.
giant
Your
fights
left or
and
my
then
left?
I love
we're
that
both
stand the
like,
same way.
I love it. It's like, I want the girl on the left. Your left or my left?
Yeah,
well, we were facing the same way.
We're facing the same way. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's so fucking good. And so many times people get into these giant fights and then are friends 5 minutes later. You know,
yeah.
And then they fight again.
And then they fight again. Yeah, and like, and
but
so
he's introducing you to that world.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's all his movies are.
Yeah.
Are like that. It's beautiful.
And like so much time is spent in that bar. Like the bar is the microcosm version of the rest of the world. You just watch the interactions at the bar. Sorry, you just watch the interactions at the bar. The bar is the world, and then when you go out into the regular world, you're still thinking about the mechanisms of the bar. Because just like people are just like giant fight, fist fight, blah blah blah, and then everyone's drinking again, and then blah 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 blah, and then everyone's drinking again. It doesn't matter what's happening. Robert De Niro walks in with no pants and makes a big joke out of it, and then gets into a big fight. It's just like this ridiculous, chaotic, nonsensical, but very rules-filled environment. And then when you go out you watch the mob characters operate in the diner, you're like, it's the same stupid thing.
But everybody needs those rules to survive.
Yep.
They need that kind of rule-based system in order just to, exist.
Yeah.
And if you go out of that, you don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And and knowing what the power structure is the only way that you stay. You keep what you have and not sink lower, right? And part of it is the agreement, like you said, Eric. It's like that nobody leaves. Like nobody leaves. You can't leave. Like you're in this. You're on your station. And you can go, maybe you can rise up within that station, but you can't leave. And both this and Public Enemies are so good at constructing the world of that trap that I can see why they're monstrously influential for every single movie that comes out that's even tangentially related to crime. These things are like absolute fucking, like these are the texts that you pull from 100%. Because man, this is like the flavor of Mean Streets is, let's see, so that's 73. So like the only
was when New York really was a shithole.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always goes up and down being a shithole, but that's when Ford told Mayor Beam, remember that Ford tells Beam to get lost because they were in a financial hole. Yeah. So it was also great for art, but it was like gritty.
Oh, sure. I mean,
by the way, just so you know, when they get out of that bar, it's now condos, but that's the police building behind them. That's on Lafayette, just past Houston.
I love it.
That bar, and then CBGB's is right up from that. Right. But that bar, I used to work at a gallery right by there, the police building. And you remember how they get out and you see this big revolver hanging above the door?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's no longer there, but that's in a famous Ouija photo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so cool. So I'll
put a link for that.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But I loved that gun. And that really is, here it is, Naked City.
The Naked City is fucking great. If people haven't seen that, Naked City, if you want to see photography of New York and also a movie, see Naked City. It's really insane.
Here's a link. I'll put it in everybody in Twitch chat.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it's definitely, I know that neighborhood. It's so funny. But let's see. Do you guys have it?
No, not yet.
Let's see. Chat. It won't let me.
No, you're putting it in the wrong chat. You have to put it in the chat for the Twitch or for something like that. So I don't know which chat. You probably put it in the wrong.
No, they just stopped me.
Oh, they did? Put it in our Discord, and then I'll copy it in. Put it in the general in Discord.
All right, check now. Hold on.
There it is. Boom.
Yeah, that's a long.
That's a big fat
Google
link.
Search.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, the gun. There it is. Beautiful.
That's it.
Yeah, I love it. That's fucking great. That's amazing.
And that's the police building. So that's Lafayette.
Here, actually, go to that actual link, not just the picture. If you go to the actual link, here, I'll put it in here too.
I love that.
Called Ouija.
Yeah, love Ouija.
And then you'll see everything in there, including.
They became condos now, but
Yeah, so good. Oh my God.
this is it. So when you look down the street behind them, and I'll put it in this, behind the street, when they get out and, you know, they're closing up for the day of the bar, right?
Mhm.
Damn, when you look at it and you look down the street,
Yep.
behind them is the police building, which became condos. But that's that building.
Right.
And that building, I was right up from that. But that's Chinatown / it's a Little Italy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. So what would you,
Totally. Look
what-
at that.
if you're, yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. If you were to pick 3 movies that represent New York from this period, what are the iconic ones?
From the 70s?
From the
From the 70s through the early 80s. We'll say that.
From that era, for at least downtown, for movies like me, I love like what is that? 3 Days of the Condor showed like the Upper East Side
Oh,
well.
that's a good point. Yeah. Nice.
I love stuff like A New Leaf. I love this for show in New York. Also, any kind of the gritty New York, or taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3.
That's a great one.
They
That's
show the
great.
70s gritty New York. And there's a lot of other loose films that, I can't remember, but I'm like, oh my God, that's New York. But that period, I love the 70s New York.
Yeah.
And
Same.
I remember, but it's definitely like when the Palladium was there, when Luchow's was there, like all of that whole area. And Hannah Sisters is in the 80s, but you get to see what Soho was like before it became
Right.
like what it was, has become.
Right.
And, but that, this movie definitely, Taxi Driver comes, but that's more like 59th Street.
Right.
And then the locations are a lot glossier there.
Yeah.
Whereas this, now early Abel Ferrar, the one with
I
the
was gonna
gun,
say.
Helen, what's it?
Miss 45.
Miss 45.
Miss
Yes.
45,
Stuff like that
Yeah.
is beautiful.
Yep. I would throw in French Connection. Was a big
Yes.
formative one for me. What do you call it? Smithereens from around 79. And Wolfen with Albert Finney, which is largely shot in like the most collapsed sections of. When I said this to Richard, he was like, "Oh yes, 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 yes," because like I mean, it's like part of New York which is just literally post-apocalyptic, like
it
just
was.
like absolutely fucking destroyed. Yeah,
Still to me, is Saturday Night Fever to me.
yeah, it's classic. Absolutely.
Also, Chuck Bronson in,
Oh, the famous
Death Wish?
Death Wish,
Death
first
Wish.
Death Wish. What a movie, man! What a fucking vicious movie that is. Terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one.
with Christopher Guest.
Yep.
I
That's
want.
right. And,
I want to sort of. I want to go back to the architecture thing. I know
Mhm.
this seems weird but I want to go back to the architecture thing a little bit because of the definition of modernism, postmodernism,
Mhm.
and deconstructivism, which is very, very, very different in architecture.
Mhm.
So obviously there was classical architecture that was sort of the thing that was known, and you had to follow the rules of architecture that were all the way going back to
Greece.
essentially
Yeah.
Greece,
Yeah, right.
right? You had to have columns, Ionic,
Doric,
blah,
and
blah, blah,
Corinthian.
Doric,
Yes,
all
yeah,
of that
right.
shit, right?
Yeah.
And that went through all of the Renaissance and the Baroque period and all of
Yeah.
that shit. And that was the rules of an architecture. And when you went to the Beaux-Arts in Paris, that's what you learned, the architecture. And architecture could only be defined specifically as being made of stone. Using steel was not architecture,
No. Yes. Right.
right? Which is really funny if you think about it.
Think about it.
Yeah, right.
And then so Eiffel was not considered an architect. He was considered an engineer. It's an engineering feat, not an architectural feat. To think
Well,
of
I
the
mean,
things
yeah,
that
because
he
the
was
Eiffel
building.
Tower was a gigantic stunt in most people's eyes at the time.
Well,
was,
yeah,
yeah.
but he did other things like train stations and other things like
Well,
that.
he also did the Ferris wheel, right? The same guy.
Right, yeah.
So, like,
but
yeah,
he,
it's
so,
like
but he
these
was
are
not
sort of rides. Right.
So modern architecture was sort of introducing steel, and then
Mhm.
it removed all of the frilliness of architecture, all
Right.
of the decorations, all of the the stuff.
The pure
And then
thing at
rebar.
the center. Yeah.
right. Well, just rebar, but it was all just
Rebar came later, but yeah.
But removing all of the concept of of decoration. On
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
architecture.
Yeah.
And so it became, as it accelerated, it got more and more minimalist. So
Right.
Mies is all about like, massive spaces with very few columns holding it up.
Right.
Or minimal.
Well, right. To actually, because I actually don't think that's so much different from art and film, because like the idea of modernism in art and film is to essentially reveal the central truths, right, and get rid of the bullshit. Like here is the actual supportive column. This is the truth of it right here, right? And so when you look at postmodernism in art, it's just another step in the same process. Like get rid of the bullshit. Like just get rid of the bullshit.
So in architecture, it was bringing all that shit back.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
And all the
frosties.
knickknacks and all the crap and all the random, like trying to bring modern classic architecture back into a modernist world.
Yeah.
And it's very weird. Like you bring back columns that are way larger than they need to be. Right.
Yeah. For no reason.
And so all of this knick-knack-knee shit was happening again in postmodernism. So it's very interesting because you have people like Philip Johnson, right, who were like the most modern, right? They were in some cases called more Mies than Mies, right? And he's the one that sort of brought postmodernism, and it's like all of his stuff became very highly decorative. And then deconstructivism was a rebellion against that, which some people thought of as ugly and whatever, but I still
is brutalism coming under deconstructionism?
Brutalism was part of the modernist movement, but it was a different way of building structure. That was not just steel; it was concrete, right? So, which was very popular in Eastern Europe.
70s.
Yeah.
Well, because I think
the Russians.
The Russians, yeah.
There's some incredible brutalist buildings in Bulgaria.
Yeah, some weirdly, really wild stuff. Yeah, they got crazy with that stuff. Yeah, there's because I think about this in relation to Denis Villeneuve's Dune movies, is because he really chose for like brutalism dominates much of the design and the architecture in Dune. Right.
Look at. I'm sorry, I'm going to pull an Eric here. Look at this.
What's wrong with pulling an Eric?
That's
it's
nothing
his
wrong
compliment.
with it.
All right, let's see.
Here, look at that.
Yeah, exactly. The Soviet stuff. Yeah,
in
it's fucking
Bulgaria.
amazing.
It's
like a stone spaceship. It's insane.
Bazlaz, the monument, and it's at the top of a mountain. It's crazy. It's a.
Look at that. It looks like. Wait a minute. Was there like a James Bond up there? That is so cool.
It is. It is.
If James Bond's villain was a stone golem, this would make a lot of sense.
Here's another one. I'm putting it in our chat.
They blow up a building like this in a Nolan film.
This is called
very inspired.
This is called the monument of Bulgarian Soviet friendship.
The monument for better dentistry.
Oh my God!
Look at that craziness.
That's some low poly stone right there. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I was saying, like this is what I was saying. It's like
some other ones. It's just so crazy.
If you look at the building on the rightmost photo in that recent link, like that is the design for Arakeen in Dune. That's what he's pulling from, right? And so like this is a guy that understands what this stuff means, because like in Dune, the whole idea of his storytelling in Dune is like Arrakis is it'll sand everything away that isn't the truth. Like it is such a brutal environment that you have to have only the truth, right? And that's true for the characters, true for the screenplay, and true for the architecture in the setting. And so when you see something like this, you're like, when you have a central philosophy of what your art is saying, you do better art.
Okay, so I do. Hold on a second. I'm going to show you guys something.
Did all that with some obscure.
So
much stuff.
Check out this building or you can look it up. Bulgarian State Monument. Okay.
Did you visit these when you go on business trips?
I didn't see all of them. Next time I go, I'm gonna talk to Vlado and say, hey, I want to go do a
take some photos, man. That's really cool.
So look at this one, the Bulgarian State Monument. Okay, look at that, right? And then look at that, compare it to the Salk Institute, which is considered one of the greatest pieces of architecture in the United States. If I bring this up in terms of a true American.
It's terrifying. I love it.
This is the Salk Institute. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love the Salk. It's in La Jolla.
Right.
And it's
I've been there.
gorgeous.
I think it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Khan?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Louis Kahn. But if you look at that Bulgarian state monument and you're like, that looks like the Salk Institute.
Yes.
What year was the Bulgarian made?
I don't know, probably in the 50s.
A communist overlord menaces the city below. Oh, look at that. It's so good. Like, I believe I fought this guy in Elden Ring, but it's terrific.
Yeah,
Fuck
it's
this
just,
guy.
they're just, I don't know. It's just something kind of, yeah, a lot of people don't like brutalism, and for good reason. And it's called brutalism, and it looks brutal.
It's not called nicism.
Yeah, it's cold, it's concrete, but
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
something kind of crazy about it. That's just, and definitely
Did the
cinematic.
origins come? I could look it up, but did
It's
the
not
origins
soft.
come
It's not a cozy little cottage.
No.
Let's just put
It's,
it that
it's
way.
not
from
Baroque.
Soviet,
Yeah, it's the
more
opposite.
Soviet bloc countries, or
I
is it?
don't know. I don't
It's very
remember, like-
popular in Soviet bloc countries.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
popular in that time. But there's certain things like even futurist architectures, like was the made were highly fascist Italians were the ones who
Yeah.
were
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
great, but it was
Excellent.
amazing looking.
Yeah,
Did you
so,
ever
like,
see that ship that Mussolini built?
The
No.
ship.
I can't wait to look at this.
That's so crazy. They lost it,
Dope.
and then they discovered it in a lake.
Oh, speaking of ships, what's that crazy ship that sunk in Sicily or with the billionaires?
Yeah,
that
Mussolini's
died?
ship.
What the fuck?
Nemi ships. Nemi,
Nemi
Italy.
ships. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, there we go. What? What is this?
Oh, it's Caligula's ship. That's what he wanted. The Nemi ships, Mussolini wanted them dug up, but they were Caligula's ships that he had made.
Oh, these are huge.
The
Yeah,
Nemi ships.
dude.
It looks like the freaking
I
Noah's
saw
Ark.
an article on, yeah,
It's insane.
Caligula was having them built. Then they were destroyed. But what's his name wanted to bring that back, Mussolini. So he
Right.
went searching for them or had them recreated, or it's crazy stuff.
Yeah, so like the shot of the Nemi ship that I'm just gonna put this in the link. This is
Sounds
really
like
good.
a Trump ship.
Yeah, it looks like a trim ship. Look at this thing. Hang on, I'm putting the link right in right now. 1 second.
I like it. People are listening
at
to this
this.
podcast. They're like, great.
Yeah.
All these guys are
So,
tons of links
Just
of things.
posting links that we can't listen to. So what I'm looking at is the
Sorry.
the Nemi
Chris
ship.
will send you the links individually.
No,
Google
just email
Nemi
me.
ship. Go to the Wikipedia of Nemi ship.
My email
NEMI.
is eric@martinigiant.com.
There it is. Right. There,
Thank you,
I'm looking
Chris.
at 100-oared, maybe 3.5 block long ship with trees on it and a Grecian columned house.
Yeah.
Like it looks
Yeah,
like
this
you
it's
took
the
part of a
most Trump
city.
thing I've ever seen.
It's insane.
It's the golden
insane.
toilet. I bet you there's a golden toilet on there somewhere.
That is absolutely fucking hilarious.
and an
That's great.
escalator that takes you
Yeah.
up to announce your presidency.
That's so nuts.
God bless. God bless. More.
Imagine
More,
being
unless it's
like the
much more.
Roman there. Like, I'm the fourth row in on the left at the bottom. That's my oar.
That's it. It's me and 5
Mom,
other guys.
look at me. I'm the
Yeah.
fourth in. Go 4 rows in. That's me. That's my row. That's my oar.
That's my oar row. I'm the closest to the window, so I get little
You'll
gusts of
see. I
fresh
got
air.
great air. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
It's so nice. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's really because like when people get to this point where they're like, it's like the Baroque era. It's like Baroque is so Baroque. It's so crazy and so florid and so ostentatious and so ridiculous that you're like, you guys are really desperate to feel something.
Like the German
Like,
Baroque
it's just
is weird.
insane. More angels, more gold. Like, holy fuck.
When I think of Baroque, I just think of like big boobs. They were really into
Oh,
big
yeah.
boobs.
Yeah.
It's all
Maximalism. Yeah. Which, I mean, it's all very entertaining. It's all fun.
yeah.
But this is actually how I felt largely when I went to the what is it?
Eric, you got very dark all of a sudden. I'm not sure what's going on.
What's the famous place? Xanadu in Caen is based on what? Like
Oh,
yeah.
it's the
What's his
Olivia
name?
Newton-John.
Getty's place. Getty's
No.
Place. No,
I thought it's based on
Hearst.
the castle. Hearst Castle.
Hearst. Sorry, that's right, Hearst.
Hearst
Hearst Castle. Went to Hearst Castle, and I was like, "This is." It's verging on being a monstrosity.
Oh yeah,
Like-
no, it is a monstrosity.
Yeah, I'm just
Which
like,
really,
this is fucking
what's
insane.
really hilarious. What's even funnier
Mhm.
about that? If you ever been to the Madonna Inn, you know
Yes.
of the Madonna Inn?
I've never
stayed
been to the
there.
Madonna Inn. I mean, look it up.
Oh my God, Daniel.
It's the same stone from
Yeah,
the
no,
Hearst Castle.
there was leftover. So Hearst used to steal pieces
Everything.
of castles from France and have them shipped over.
Oh, I see.
to be do that. And
Yeah.
so the Madonna Inn, look up the Madonna Inn dining room, by the way, Daniel.
Okay,
Just
let's
look
do
up.
that. Madonna.
And if you go there, there's a giant stone staircase that kind of goes to nowhere. And it was just a leftover
Oh my
stone
God.
case
oh my
from
God.
the Madonna Inn, from the Hearst Castle. And they just took it and they
Well,
built
it was actually a church.
My eyes
Yeah,
It was a
cannot
French church,
comprehend what
portion
I'm
of a French
seeing.
church, and they just like, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, Madonna
Let's
Inn.
just sell the rocks.
Yeah. And what's cool about the Madonna Inn is you go to all the different rooms. There's like the safari room, there's the
Oh my
cave
God, that's
room, there's
fucking
you can get all these different rooms at the Madonna
That's
Inn.
insane.
It is the best. I love the Madonna Inn.
I mean, it's like it's hysterical. It's fun. It's incredible.
Uh-huh.
It's like you are in it to win it. If you're at the Madonna,
yeah. You
It's
get the
incredible.
champagne. Get the champagne cake at the Madonna Inn.
Yeah, I love
and
it.
it is.
There's so
Mhm.
much happening. There's not enough pixels on the screen to cover what I'm.
It
looking at.
is.
It's
It
not
is
possible.
is an assault of pink to your eyes.
It's radical. It's
And
radical.
what's even the thing about the Madonna Inn is you go like everywhere you go is like, oh, you should go check out the urinals at the Madonna Inn. Like everything is an experience.
They're swans.
No, it's a
Peel back the
waterfall.
swan.
You're peeing into a waterfall. That's
Nice.
what you're
That's
doing.
wonderful. Okay.
Mhm.
Can you imagine the brutalist version of the same room? It would be a concrete box with no lights.
Slab.
Yeah.
Formerly a morgue.
Exactly. Same feeling. Are you from Poland?
Oh, this
Mhm.
came up the other day. Speaking of brutalist architecture in movies, the movie The Cell,
Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tarsem?
Tarsim.
Tarsim. I was thinking about Tarsim the other day
Yeah, the
because we
fall.
were when I was at Method, we were doing a Tarsim commercial for
Mhm.
the Palm Pre,
Nice. There you go.
which was the last Palm phone made.
That's
it was
it.
their last hurrah
It was
to
the
try to
Palm
beat
Post.
to try to beat the iPhone. And it was a crazy Tarsim thing. But I was sort of looking at his stuff, and I was thinking about a movie he made that sort of is one of the most beautiful films ever put on film. But it's just a very The Fall. Have
The
you
Fall.
seen
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
I've seen The Fall. It's gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
It's gorgeous movie. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
that is one of those, like, I haven't followed him as a director outside. Like, actually, I enjoy The Cell. It's not like it's sort of a combination of crappy cop
Is that
movie
Jennifer
and beautiful
Lopez?
work of art. Yeah.
Jennifer
And
Lopez
Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn and
Vince Vaughn is the cop.
and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio is the killer, right? And when they're in the world of The Cell, like, it's definitely worth seeing. It's really, really, it's very gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And just spectacular. Sort of like if you were to mix Hellraiser and fucking what's his name, Brazil, Terry. It's Terry Gilliam meets Hellraiser, and it's very, very, it's very interesting. It's very good. Unfortunately, there's this very limited scale cop movie that doesn't work in between all that, but the rest of it's very beautiful. And then The Fall is just gorgeous. Just watch The Fall. It's just great.
Yeah,
We should do one on that because I have not seen The Fall.
You love The Fall. It's
you'd
really
like
pretty.
it. You'd like
Yeah.
it, I think. Yeah.
I don't know if it's a good movie, but it's a gorgeous movie. Like, I
Yeah.
can't even remember what the movie is really about. There's the girl, and she's
It's
whatever.
a girl.
It's gorgeous.
and following someone, and they
Yeah.
go into fantasy
Something's happening.
worlds.
Movies are happening, but the movie is
It's
pretty as
just
hell.
to me it's very it's supposed to invoke emotion with a bunch of eye candy. That's what
Yep.
I remember about it.
It's all like, to me, his stuff was like a really cool, like Banana Republic commercial or
Yeah,
fragrance
right.
commercial.
I have a feeling he used to do these commercials,
Yeah, he did.
and he would make a ton of money on them, and then he would
Yes.
use that money to make the movies he wanted to do.
Well, famously,
I
with The
worked in an
Fall-
office in New York when I worked for commercial directors. Larry Fong worked in the office with us, and Larry was always the shooter for Stan, and that was his buddy. And I remember I've met the guy, and they were doing. He did. They Larry did the REM video, Losing My Religion, with him.
Mhm.
But he was an arty filmmaker and who did this. But his stuff, like commercial stuff, for early 90s was a big deal too. He was considered visionary, what he was, because he was doing really cool looking commercials. But when he went into features, he's more of a commercial director, you know, with limited narrative kind of cohesiveness, but a vision that's beyond what his skill is as a narrative storyteller.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's why, I mean, I don't know what he's doing now, but he's definitely a brilliant guy. It's like if Chris Cunningham became a director. Do you think his movie would make sense?
That guy so bad. I miss him. The thing is, like, I don't know if he would have been a good narrative director. He never.
That's right.
Directed any
I don't think he would be.
But his vision was just.
That's right.
Of the best.
There was a guy. I do want to mention something on the podcast. Is our good friend Justin Denton has put out his movie. There's a trailer to his movie.
The trailer for his new movie. Very excited.
Very nice. I saw it.
The Sin Eater. Curse of the Sin Eater?
The Curse of the Sin Eater. It's horror film.
I have seen The Curse of the Sin Eater, the whole movie, and it's awesome. I definitely.
Where'd you see it?
Oh, he gave us a limited screening of it. You got it too. I gave it to you too, Eric.
Did you really?
I did.
Really, really, really good. It's really, it's nasty and fun, and it
Are
feels
you sure
like
about that?
I am positive.
I'm going to say I
look
don't
it up.
recall.
It's very good.
It's not available on streaming yet. They're sort of working on that aspect of it. It made it through many film festivals.
Yeah, it's great. It's like if you had a Twilight Zone style story with hyper intense stakes. It's really great. Really good. Justin, good job.
Good job, Justin. Yeah,
friend of the show, Justin Denton, goes and makes a great movie. There you go.
And I'm going to have him on CG Garage because it's just that I just want to emphasize to people how hard it is to actually get a movie made. No matter what the movie is.
Well, and Justin, I get the impression that he had to fucking leave Hollywood in order to do it.
Yeah,
he was just like, "Fuck this, Hollywood's not helping me out," and he went back to Chicago or where he's from.
He's from Chicago. Okay, I think there was also some personal reasons behind it, but I think leaving L.A. helped him just refocus and get his shit done. Yeah,
absolutely. I totally hear you. Man.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, it is getting anything shot and put out is hard, and to do something like this intense, hats off to you. That's incredible. Really, really good work. It'd be great to have him back on the show and talk to him about that. Talk to him about that movie once it's out.
Yeah, for sure. He's been on, just to give perspective of who Justin is. Those who are fans of the show will know that he was the one who was on who recommended Bad Boy Bubby.
Bad Boy Bubby, a life-changing experience
for anyone who ever watched that movie. There's your life before you've seen Bad Boy Bubby.
Pre and post Bubby. It's very true. Yeah, we cannot guarantee you will enjoy Bad Boy Bubby, but you
cannot
will be
unsee it, though.
A measurably different person after seeing Bad Boy Bubby. Definitely. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, congratulations, man. And definitely check out the trailer. Look it up on YouTube. It's really good. Really, really good stuff. Yeah, I think that indie horror has done very well this year. You got a lot of good stuff. There's stuff I have to catch up on, like Long Legs, which did incredibly well with Nicolas Cage, directed by Anthony Perkins' son, Oz Perkins.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the only places that innovation is happening in film, in my opinion.
Really?
As in horror?
As in horror. Yeah. Mainly because I think it's the only thing that it's guaranteed platform exposure. Like
it's the only thing that people are going to greenlight.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
you just said it.
Right?
Yeah,
that's right. It's cheap enough they can risk it. Yep.
Yeah, it was interesting because another thing I heard like specifically, you mentioned Vince Vaughn earlier. Vince Vaughn said specifically like, you can't make comedy anymore. Comedy's dead.
You couldn't make Swingers.
There's no way.
Never make Swingers.
Yeah, no chance. And he said it
because
really well.
For exactly that reason, I'm going to go back to it. When the person says, "Oh, that's not right," you have to call out everything that could possibly offend you.
Yeah, and which has nothing to do with the audience. That has, like you said, everything to do with the lawyers.
Yes,
that's
his specific quote on that was like, "You can't make comedy anymore because you'd get fired."
Yeah,
no producer wants to get fired, so that's why they're not making comedy anymore. Right. I was like, wow,
like
just job security.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you get when you get Harvard MBA is making decisions creatively.
I don't know if it's the Harvard MBA thing. It might be a little
Remember
bit that. I
Dartmouth?
think it's more of the HR risk management.
Same. It's all part of the same thinking. It's corporate thinking as opposed to creative thinking.
Yeah.
Because like when you make great films, you act like Robert Evans. If you're a producer, you act like Robert Evans.
Right.
And that's how you end up with Chinatown and Jaws and the Conversation and blah blah blah.
I got to tell you,
That's how
our
it's
short film, we are likely to offend people
there it
in
is.
some cases.
Sounds
really?
good.
Oh yeah,
Sure. Why not?
Because
because we're making fun of VFX.
Because people exist. And if you're making art that is not that we made great art, but I mean just like if you're
we
making
make fun
art,
of tech bros for sure.
very heavily, and I feel rightly, But I mean, just like if you're not at risk of offending someone, then you're probably not being honest in what you're saying.
Right.
Like just be honest in what you're saying, and likely someone disagrees with you on something, and then they can be offended, and they are welcome to be offended. It's totally fine.
Right.
But if you're making creative decisions via risk management, you're not going to make creative decisions. You're going to make risk-averse decisions, which have nothing to do with saying anything that's important to you.
Sure.
There you go. That's that. And so like it's like when they canceled the new Star Wars show, The Acolyte, which was
they did.
Yeah, it's a bad show. It has occasional good lightsaber fights. I watched a bunch of it, and it's like this is just not a very good show. It has a bunch of good actors in it, but it's not very good. It fell into the standard now almost trope of Star Wars fans splitting into two camps, and where the only opinion you can have on the show is if you hated it because it was very LGBTQ plus forward, and that's why it was bad, or if you agree with the show, then it's the best show ever made. And I'm like, well, what if it's just a bad show, even if you do agree with it? Like, this is just a bad show. And my example
so
of this,
can't be criticized, is what you're saying. Without
Right.
You can't criticize a show based on what you perceive as merits and
whether
what
it's
makes
a good show, right?
because you're going to be labeled as
Right.
somebody who hates
And
this and that.
Right. And the thing is, like,
That
one of my
sucks,
favorite
dude.
movies
That's
of
where
the
we're in a
year,
bad spot.
like if you want to hear one of my top 3 movies of the year, is a movie called I Saw the TV Glow, which is about the director's sort of a horror / well, definite fictionalization, but a horror movie version of the director's transitional experience into becoming a trans woman. And it is so fucking fantastic and so moving and so daring and so fulfilling and artistic that anyone who thinks that movies are ruined by saying pro-trans things has to see this movie. So they go, oh fuck, that's a really good movie. Because it has nothing to, like, what has to do with, like, the reason why The Acolyte is terrible is not because of its statements surrounding anything or its casting. It has to do with the fact that Disney makes movies via an Excel spreadsheet. And that's why it's bad. That's it. And if people make decisions like that, they're going to, like, it offends me. like if you're saying that this is art, it's not art. Like, you
Let
have
me
to make
ask you
movies
this. Alien, who's made Alien? Was it a Fox movie?
that is a Disney movie.
So Disney made it.
Disney's Fox, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is made by Fox.
Ostensibly, but it is owned by Disney. It is a Disney.
I understand this. I'm asking more specifically. Who is the actor?
I don't know who is
Fox?
credited. Yes, I assume that it is Fox, but
What point are you getting at, Chris?
That it is actually Disney that was responsible for the decision.
Yes. Yeah.
Actually Disney,
Yes.
not just like ethereally Disney. Like, is it actually Disney?
If I
Probably.
assume that it's made by Fox, a division of Disney, and it feels like it was made directly by Disney.
Okay.
Like, they're using Fox as a shield so they can be gross and have gore. But
yeah, so it is
absolutely
20th Century Studios,
Yeah,
which is no
it
longer
is
called Fox. It's called 20th Century Studios.
20th Century Studios. It is absolutely constructed along the same angle as new Star Wars and new, last 3 years of Marvel.
Right.
Like 100%.
Huh.
And the thing is, they could have been like, as myself, I happen to agree with all this. Like with The Acolyte, I agree with all the statements they're making, and I agree with the casting choices they're making. Like, I think that they should do this, and it is incredibly irresponsible to make those choices and then make them because it's an Excel spreadsheet choice as opposed to something you actually feel passionate about backing. Like, that's a disgrace. Like, people's identity and sexuality is not a product that you can make money off of, and that's what they're doing.
Well, yeah.
Like, if you have a truth to say, you have to say it.
You don't realize that that's what they've always done forever.
Sure, it's a business. It's a business. I get it. I can't really blame Disney. It's a business, but it's something that we should not support. I don't feel that's good for us. I don't feel it's good for anybody to pretend like that stuff is good when it's not.
It
good.
exists because it's supported. It's kind of right. It's not trying to do something because of the love of things. It's only doing things to make money. So
yes.
So it will continue to it'll do whatever it takes to make money.
Right. And so
so saying it's doing this, we shouldn't support it. It's like it's going to make money no matter what.
Well, this is the thing I'm saying is that The Acolyte got canned.
Right.
Because it didn't make any money. Right. It didn't make any money because it's bad.
Right. And so I hate to say it, economically speaking, they're going to figure out what makes money and what doesn't make money. Right.
Right.
And the fact that they don't know what makes money and the fact that they thought this was going to make money is the problem, not the fact. Right.
Well, yeah.
So they will not make. They will happily cancel a show as they did, because it didn't make money, not because they feel any righteousness to say, what they need to do.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing is that I think where they are irresponsible, both as moneymakers and as artists, is that they casually take things that are very important to people and use those as brand monikers, and then put out crap, and then that crap doesn't make any money and just starts fights. And then they cancel it, and all the support those people felt from it is gone. Like, that's irresponsible. And it's artistically flawed to think like that.
Right.
And like, if I can tell you that, like, that art makes money over anything else, because Alien Romulus isn't making money because it's so good. It was the first movie that came out in that series. It wouldn't make any money because it doesn't have a franchise to sit on, and it's not a very good movie. Alien, the first movie, is made by a bunch of artists, and it's one of the best works of art of the 20th century. That's why it's stood out as a franchise for the next 40 plus years. It's the art that made it valuable. It isn't the franchise that made it valuable. The franchise didn't exist.
To try to, like, the problem is you don't know whatever you're going to make is going to make money. So the only thing you can rely on is the franchise, right? And so that's the immediate thing. I think the problem I have is no one's actually trying to think of what to do. They're having a knee-jerk reaction. Like, what do I need to do to get my house in Aspen?
Yeah,
right?
Get the fuck out. Get my house and leave.
How do I make my house in Aspen? Okay. You know what? I have a friend of mine who's friends with Ridley Scott. I'm going to make Romulus. I'm going to make another Alien film. That should make just enough money for me to get my house in Aspen.
Yeah, that'll do the trick. There you go.
So I think that's what's going,
Sure. Did you guys hear what happened with Disney in that lawsuit?
Which lawsuit?
That just went down last week. But they reversed. Disney was involved in a lawsuit by a couple. One was dead, and they had won. Basically, it was tossed out, but then they reversed.
Remind me. Yeah, go ahead.
They reversed the decision, Disney.
What was the lawsuit about?
Because a guy went to a restaurant down here in Florida, to Disney World, with his wife, and she's allergic to nuts. She died at the Polynesian room in Disney World. Because they signed up for Disney Plus, they couldn't sue Disney.
They basically says in your terms, so in the terms and agreement that you signed up for Disney Plus,
nuts.
You said you wouldn't sue Disney for any lawsuits. So when they went to Disney World, it's all part of the same Disney umbrella.
And they told the people,
you can't sue us for dying.
They told the person but she was allergic. My sister's allergic to a lot of food, so I talked to her about this last week. They said she's allergic to peanuts or legumes and things, and it's really hard to eat. But she basically, an EpiPen couldn't save her. because she had 2 different types of things she was allergic to in the food. Right. So the restaurant didn't do due diligence, but it's very hard to cook for somebody with like peanut allergies and so forth. Because the spatula touches it, you get it.
That's it. Yeah.
So, but they was thrown out. But Disney was so afraid of looking bad, they said allow it to go to a juror. Because there was a backlash, like, wait a minute, you sign up for Disney Plus, and then you die at one of their,
basically they're
parks?
saying they're not allowed to sue Disney because years ago I signed up for Disney Plus, which had a terms of saying that you wouldn't sue Disney.
So, like, I die because I wanted to watch The Black Hole.
But the thing was, they actually went through with it, and hooray, we won. But the backlash within a few weeks was so much that they're like, you know what, just let it go to a jury. Because they realized now everyone's going to stop going to Disney Plus just out of...
But Disney's not afraid of frivolous lawsuits. I mean, they sued a couple who put Winnie the Pooh on their kid's gravestone who died. He was a young boy who died when he was 5.
Can you imagine that?
And they put Winnie the Pooh on his gravestone because he loved Winnie the Pooh, and Disney sued him for copyright for doing that.
There is a person who thought of that, who saw a photo of that.
It's all the lawyerification we talked about.
Like, what goes through your mind when you see that on Facebook and you're like, that's a copyright infringement. I can do something about it. Like, I hope that person is like,
they're trying to get their second home. You guys just mentioned it.
Brutal,
right?
It's brutal.
That's a perfect way. You get a glimmer in the boss's eye. You're all of a sudden,
Yeah,
but that's actually a quote. So Nilay Patel is the head of The Verge, and he used to be a lawyer, and he always talks about like random weird lawsuits that happen all the time where someone sues, because there's a lot of tech lawsuits, as you are aware, similar things. Like, it's like, and apparently one of his teachers uses it all the time. It's like, why did this lawsuit happen? He tells his law students that, and they're like, it happened because of this, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, it happened because the lawyer wanted a BMW.
Yeah, that's right, dude.
That's exactly 100%. What it is, dude.
Yeah.
It's just a way to get ahead.
Like,
some douchebag is doing that.
It's basically like ambulance chasers.
It is.
Yeah, that's.
Well, the thing is, man, like I think if I take off my rage hat and just think about it as business, like, it's still bad business what they're doing. Like, good business is like you support some franchises.
How
and you make
fucking rich do you want to be?
I mean, this is the thing, dude. Like, if you're say whoever is running Disney now, or you're whatever Zaslav or any of these guys, like, you're responsible for the long-term health of the company. Like, you don't put all your chips on small bets. You put some of your chips on big risks, because it's the big risks that allow for the huge amount of cash, that allow you the small bets that make things consistent.
I'm just thinking about the guy who told me, like, this is great news that, RFK is supporting Trump, because that means my crypto is going to go up and I can buy a house. Like that is think about that mentality.
Why do you want to live in that house in this world? Like, why do you want that?
And like, just thinking about what the fuck?
It's fucked up. Yeah,
what's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's fucked up.
You have no feeling of belonging in the world?
Like, just like, I mean, because it's so, this is the,
and to be honest, I understand like, I went down that rabbit hole at some point. Now, I didn't necessarily think about but I got out of it because I was like, what the fuck is going on in this world?
Right.
But I was involved in a thing where, like, you get seduced. Like, I guess the world is making NFTs, selling JPEGs for millions of dollars. Like that.
Sure.
When you sit back and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. What is this? And once it triggers my art nerves, like, I get obviously very, very angry.
Well, it got into the art world.
Yeah.
It got into the art world, right?
Yeah.
And if you think about it, like, oh, that's kind of ridiculous. But when you really think about the art world, and Eric, you worked in the art gallery world, it wasn't dissimilar. Man. People were buying all kinds of random quote unquote art. They didn't give a shit what they were buying. It was just a way of evading taxes.
I remember this woman used to come in, and it was like a sickle through a wheat field. She would just buy fucking the whole thing and put it in a warehouse in Long Island and be like, okay. I mean, she would come into shows, hi, and just come in and buy shit. Her husband,
because then you do that, and then you quote unquote loan it to a museum, and then you deduct the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
and then you still have, and then you still own it, and so you can still claim that as wealth, but you deduct the entire thing because you let the public see it.
Yeah,
it's not a love of art. It is not. It's a way of
so it's essentially
just business.
like
Tell Michael it was only business.
It's like paying somebody off to get one of those stickers that says you're disabled, so you can park anywhere.
Yeah, motherfuckers.
Yeah, we're putting or saying, oh yeah, service dog. The service dog scam annoys the shit out of me.
They have like service alligators, dude.
That sounds pretty good. But like, yeah, like that is the kind of mentality.
Emotional support alligators.
Like you need mean streets being made, right? You need that. Like even if it doesn't make a lot of money, you still need that.
Yeah.
Like, and you need it artistically, and you need it as an investment.
Yeah, we need to have,
thing.
And I think that there is going to be like there is mean streets being made, right? Like you look at Everything Everywhere All at Once. There was no Disney lawyer that made that movie.
It's fucking like
but
that
it's
is
also
a giant
about the
risk,
community.
It's fucking great.
Like the world. It shows a world of somebody else.
Yes.
Right.
Like
so I think that's, that wasn't like, oh, we're going to capitalize on this thing. So those things do happen, and that's great.
But so like this is the like that I'm glad that something like that hits big because it proves that that's what people actually are satisfied by and is a good investment.
Yeah, but at the same time, everyone saw like Deadpool made a shit ton of money.
Sure, and like again, like it's fine if people love it. It's totally fine if people love Alien Ramen. I have nothing against people loving whatever they're loving. That's totally fine. But like there is, I guarantee you, a better movie to be made for the alien world than this one. Like this is a diminishing returns project that you've just created.
I don't think there is. The problem I have is why are you still trying to make Alien? Just stop it. Let Alien be Alien and move on.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like, put it this way: if you are going to make Alien, reinforce the brand.
Let's get back to the subject at hand. Mm-hmm. They didn't. Mean Streets is not a remake of Public Enemy or part of the Public Enemy franchise, or they didn't do like, well, I'm going to make a sequel to Casablanca, right?
Yeah.
And when you go back to what's the other film we saw, The Player, right? When he's like, we're going to make a sequel to The Graduate. Right? None of that really happens. What they're doing is they're playing an homage to it, inspired by it, totally, and that builds on it. Art is derivative. We should acknowledge it.
Well, art is a process of you consuming other art and seeing the world, and then you come out with new art that is influenced by all that stuff. That's
Michelangelo didn't make David 2.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's not even like it isn't the sequelization of something that makes it bad.
His penis was big. David 2.
There's no leaf that can cover this.
Gigantic, says the public.
Yeah, it isn't the sequelization or the franchisation of what is going on. It isn't the franchisation that is making something bad. It is the fact that it is bad that it's bad. It is like the thing is like you can make a movie. Like, I don't think Aliens is quite as good as Alien, but it's still one of the best movies of the 80s easily, right? But it's a brand new, interesting movie. You can make a movie that's in a franchise that's better. Like Empire Strikes Back is by almost every metric a better movie than Star Wars.
Godfather 2.
Godfather 2, exactly.
I'm saying you can't.
You must make a movie that good is your responsibility. And it's not just an artistic responsibility. It is, if you're making any kind of business decision, it is reinvesting in the license to make something good. It's a little bit of a risk because it's going to be different.
People just want nostalgia, man. They like when they think Star Wars, the only thing they want is Chewbacca and R2-D2
they did not,
the Millennium Falcon.
What happened that they think that now? Why did they want that now when they didn't want that with Empire Strikes Back? What happened? They didn't even want that with the original Planet of the Apes series, which are mostly good movies. Those get weirder and crazier and more inventive as they go. And still kind of true with Planet of the Apes.
I think it's because people, I mean, I know we kind of do it on this show too, but people just want to hear that line that they loved. They want to hear it. When they have conversations about The Princess Bride, all they do is just repeat lines from The Princess Bride that they love.
They want to express their love of the thing they love.
So they're like, oh, I will see The Princess Bride too, because
is that the
then
only
I'm going to
thing
hear
that they
those
want?
lines again.
Is that the only thing they want? Would they be unhappy if there was?
Yes. I really do
That's true.
think so.
Really?
I think
I
that
wonder
they're
if
like,
that's true, though.
well, because that's the one way they know they're going to get it.
Sure, but I mean, if you made a movie, if you made a new Star Wars,
We did. You're just waiting for Schwarzenegger to say "I'll be back" in every movie he's in.
yeah, but like, I mean, but that's the thing, right? If you put out a Star Wars movie that was as good or better than Empire Strikes Back, no one would be unhappy about that. Like, that means you've made one of the great films.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Try to do that.
That's a lot of work,
Right.
and it's not guaranteed to win.
It isn't. That's the risk part. That's the risk of the investment. But you're going to, if it pays out, you actually make more money long term.
Sure,
That's how it works.
That's not enough. I just need enough money to get that house in Vale.
That is the problem, right? And the thing is, like, because I mean, like right now, for instance, Blade Runner 2049 has finally started to make its money back because,
Really?
yeah,
I keep saying a lot of reallys. How is that possible?
because when it came out, it was received well generally, but it was a giant bomb that lost $80 million and everyone made fun of it. Now it is seen as one of the great works of art so far this century.
Same
And
thing
people
was
are
true
like,
with the original Blade Runner.
with the original one, and the amount of money that Blade Runner as a franchise has made for its license holders is gar-fucking-gantuan because they are good.
But people aren't patient. They want that money now.
Right.
Right? And you have to make it in the first 2 weeks of the box office because that's the incentive right now.
So I
Right.
do want to bring up one thing that I thought was really interesting on Netflix. And so like I ride on Netflix pretty hard sometimes, but they do also make some of my favorite films in the past few years. They just released something.
Hopefully people are enjoying this conversation because we're not doing the same thing that we've been doing where we actually talk about what happens in the movies. We're talking about our passion for these movies.
Yeah, we're just getting excited
Watch
about them. Right. So this past weekend, Netflix released a thing called what is it? Wyatt Earp and the Cowboy War, I think it's called.
Okay.
And it's a 6-part series. It was like #1 on Netflix, and it is a documentary narrated by Ed Harris. And I want people to watch this, not because it's particularly great, but because it's really unique. I think it might be actually unique. It's 6 hours long, and it is two things that make it different is that it is unlike, say, if you're watching a Ken Burns documentary, which like slow fade between photos of the Old West and narration going on. And it's fascinating, very compelling. This is 100% all 6 hours. All of it is a what do you call it? A reenactment. All of it, right?
Yes.
So what you are watching is a narrative movie about these cowboys, right?
Yeah.
And it is also wall-to-wall narrated as if it's a documentary by the incredibly interesting voice of Ed Harris. And the style in which it's written isn't like, and then the Earp boys, blah, 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 blah. It's nothing. It goes, like, he actually says things just like, now hold up. What are you talking about here? Like, he's talking like he's hanging out with you. Like, but he didn't know what was coming for him, and that's why he got his ass whipped. Right? And you're like, this is a documentary? Like, and like, meanwhile, there's an enormous amount of information coming your way. It's all extremely entertaining. And I was like, between this and
that's a very interesting concept.
it's very fascinating, right? And
That
between
sounds very
this,
experimental.
it's very experimental. I was kind of excited by it. I was like, this is really like, I don't think the production is sky high great, but it's very interesting and very worthwhile. And it really shows, like, if you watch since the beginning of the year, okay, Horizon comes out, Kevin Costner's movie, right? And Horizon flat out bombs at the box office. And that first week, everyone's just like, Westerns are dead. Nobody wants to see Westerns, right? Then Horizon comes out on VOD and is absolutely #1 and dominates for weeks and makes a shitload of money. And then he gets his whole franchise back and he gets to make the next one, right? And then this comes out and it's just like #1 on Netflix, this 6-hour documentary on cowboys. And it was just like, these two things, this documentary, like, took risks against the grain on what people said was popular and not popular. And now you have 2 home runs. Like, that is good business. And both things are interesting. Like, whether or not you like Horizon, this guy has a vision that he's trying to complete as an artist. which I endorse. Whether or not you enjoy the movie, that's up to you.
The problem is
Imagine during
it's hard to say this movie succeeded because it's good. You can't go there. You can say this movie succeeded because it's a Western and therefore make more Westerns, or don't make more Westerns.
Right.
You can't say, you know how we're going to make money is if we make good movies. You can't do
Yeah,
that.
sure,
You know what
sure.
I mean?
Yeah. No, I get you. No, don't worry. I promise it's going to be great. Yeah. But you can, as
You know
like,
how we can make money? How about instead of that, we make a good movie?
yeah, let's make a good movie. But the thing is,
Imagine
like,
in
if you were
that
talking to
Wyatt,
Robert Evans, that is what
imagine
he's saying.
they
right?
incorporate, you're on like the 5th hour and they start incorporating in Wyatt Earp, like, and Wyatt wanted to get a pre-owned certified BMW, and he did.
right, he did. And then just
It's like
slow
incorporating
zooms over,
commercials into it.
Right, exactly. That's the next step. But like, the thing is, like, you do have that conversation if you're Robert Evans producing in the 1970s. And the thing is that you're not going to a board meeting and it's like, okay, well, let's look at the analysis from the Facebook groups about what is the most appropriate possible thing that we can sell and measure that against the blah, blah. Like, he's not fucking saying any of that. He's just like, I saw The Godfather. Francis, it's too short. I need a good, fat, beefy steak of a movie. Give me more. That's
Right.
Robert Evans. And that's why you have The Godfather.
Right.
Like, it's not coming at it like it's, I'm trying to get the second house. It's coming out going, I'm going to make the best fucking movie I can possibly make. That's what guarantees me being a millionaire and guarantees me being.
So does this go back?
The only time
Is this-
that works is the only time you can just get a whole bunch of money to do that
Mhm.
is if you're James Cameron and say, just give me all the money and
Yeah, it's
fuck
true.
you.
Yeah, there it is. And he's proven that twice now, right, with Avatar.
Yeah.
Like, he just gets to do what the fuck he wants. That's that. And God bless him. Go and make it your own way, and then people will catch up. That's the only way to do things.
What was that you were going to say, Eric?
This is like the Wall Streetification of Hollywood,
Mhm.
where
Yes.
the decisions, like, look, we're the money people. We know what, this is us. So everything's driven by that kind of economics rather than the economics of filmmaking.
Right.
Well,
They want
that's a
certainty.
great way of putting it. And I watched, what's that Mad Money guy, that crazy Kramer guy?
Yeah, Jim
Douchebag.
Cramer.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
But I remember him in the day when Digital Domain went public and he was like, this is the greatest investment ever. The movie industry, high tech technology, blah, blah,
Super
blah.
safe.
He's
No
just
one's
getting
ever
paid
lost
off,
money.
honestly.
And
that
it
guy
was
is-
like so obviously like you have no idea what you're talking about. And if
No.
I realize that because I'm in the industry
Yeah.
and I realize every time you open your freaking mouth, you probably have no idea what you're talking about. Every
You're just
time.
putting on a show. It's
When you're
entertainment.
talking about pharmaceuticals, telecom,
Yeah, it's nonsense.
oil and gas, you are full of shit every time.
Right.
And somehow people just buy it. And all they're doing, making enough money that people buy it, then sell all the stock and buy that house and fail.
Yeah. God damn it, dude. Aren't they done
I hate
selling
saying
houses
that. I was like,
Vail?
these
I know.
poor people that bought all these houses in Vale.
I know. Really nice houses. Vale's a nice place. Yeah, but like that's the thing. And that's when you get down to Mean Streets, like that's a movie that only Martin Scorsese could make, period. And it's indelible and it changed the way movies were made. And it cost like how much? Less than $1 million, $400,000 probably. Like that's how you actually change things. And you have it your way, you do the thing you're passionate
He
about.
did, and
that's
what
it.
he knows.
And what
He
he knows.
showed off a world that he knows.
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna describe this for you. This is my experience, and I want to give it to you the way
If
it
you
is.
made that movie today, even at the quality level that it is, even if you shot on all iPhones, it would still cost $20 million just in the music
Yeah,
rights.
no shit, exactly. No shit. Every time the first
Yeah.
like, bow, da, down. Oh my god, get that music off immediately.
So expensive.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
God,
he got the
music
Stones,
rights.
dude.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's insane. Like it's like I've told this story before, but I've worked for Fox doing a short film, and I wanted to get the music rights for a fairly obscure song from a fairly obscure artist, and the price was 3 times the budget of the movie I was directing, just to get the song. And they're like, "So no?" And I was like, "Yeah, no. I can make this cheap. I can't make it that cheap." Jesus, it'd be a
Yeah.
black screen and the song playing.
What was the song?
It was a remix of Moon River, a sort of like digitalized version of Moon River, and it was really fucking good. And we just couldn't get it. It was too much. Like
Yeah.
first blush, it was just like
Who wrote it? Like Lieber and Stoll. Who wrote it?
Well,
Um,
Moon River is
Moon
famous.
River, the fame. Whoever
I know,
it is,
but who wrote?
Bernstein or whatever it is,
Whose credit is the songwriter?
Oh, that's why it was so much, is because Moon
Because
River
it was
itself.
it was Moon River.
And
I understand what Moon River is, Chris. What I'm saying, who is credited as the
who's
song,
credited?
the songwriter? Who has credit with the ASCAP? Meaning, is it Lieber and Stoller? Who wrote that? Where their estate or their living attorney or agent said this is what our cost is. It's based on their catalog.
Johnny Mercer was the writer of Moon River.
Okay.
Right. There you go.
Moon River, a song composed by Johnny Mercer and Henry Mancini in 1961.
And that's where the price tag was, not the.
It's the Mancini estate.
Mancini.
That who did the music to Taxi Driver? Yeah, is that right? No, that was what's his name? Did Psycho?
Yep. Robbie Robertson.
No.
Who did the music?
Did the music for Taxi Driver?
Yeah.
Robbie Robertson did the music for Taxi Driver.
No, it's Bernard Herrmann.
Bernard Herrmann for Taxi Driver?
For Taxi Driver.
Okay.
Yep. And Bernard Herrmann is fantastic. Although I wish I could have seen him when he was around, because apparently he was the world's biggest asshole, and I love that.
I told you my mother worked for him.
Was he a jerk or was he nice? You know?
She worked when she was at Hunter. She was a babysitter on Park Avenue for one of his kids, baby. And he was very demanding. All the staff were worried about him.
I love stories.
I'm nervous around him.
Like fucking brilliant artists who are totally unstoppable jerks. Like he's saying to Scorsese, like, here's your fucking music. Yeah,
I can imagine.
Funny. Architects are the worst. Like, the more famous an architect you are, the more of an asshole you are.
The more you get stand them.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
Yeah.
They
make movie stars look like the Dalai Lama.
Well, movie stars generally know where their bread is buttered.
Oh, yeah, they have to be collaborative.
Yeah,
so.
they have to.
But they're a little backstabby, though.
Yeah. Movie stars can be jerks, but they try to be jerks in private.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a children's book.
Yeah.
Movie stars can be jerks.
That's good.
All right. I'm going to say we wrap this up because it's been great. And we only talked peripherally about Mean Streets and Public Enemy, but This is
a new Chris, because before, if we did this, you'd be like, let's get back onto the Trent wagon.
Man.
I know.
I love it.
You're changing, and it's good. You're getting ADD.
I don't know if I'm getting ADD. I'm just saying, I'd rather that the conversation just keep going as opposed to trying.
Dan, you were spot on tonight. Very good stuff.
You as well, both of you. Fantastic. I really enjoyed it. But of course, we have to thank in chat Jay Kamir for the constant technical assistance. Right. So thank you very, very much, sir. Yeah, come here.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. You guys ready for this?
We're ready.
All right.
Good show.
Drink.
Talk.
Drink.